Rolling.
Rolling. That shit.
Number 15.
Holy fuck, it is. I actually got it right.
Did you?
Yeah,
I was
do you not
like, usually get it right?
I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I've had to change it a few times. I'm like, is it 13? Is it 10? Even though we talk about it like on the podcast.
Yeah, well, we're done. So that's fine.
Cheers. A little better than I thought.
I was just going to say,
Now, we did start with the bowl last time. So we're drinking Gibson's Finest Rare 12-year-old whiskey. We did, the last time we drank this, we did start with the 8-year-old Bold.
Mm-hmm.
We did start with that. So that could have influenced.
I was just going to say, this is much better than I remember.
Yeah, 100%. Way better.
It's quite delicious.
It is.
Just goes to show, don't listen to us.
We're going to start doing whiskey ratings. Since we're drinking like new bottles pretty much every week so far.
Yeah.
We've only doubled up a few times.
So for anyone who's interested in we're not connoisseurs by any means, but it's just a fun thing to do. And also, anyone who wants to get into whiskey, you can take our stupid ratings and fucking
try for yourself.
Go from there.
Yeah.
Have at it.
I think we have similar taste buds when it comes to whiskey.
I think so.
But I think different as well. Because you can drink scotch.
Yeah. You can't even drink it.
Like, unless it's like, what was it? Johnny Walker Blue.
Which is $300. I saw that in the store the other day. It's $300.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Psychotic.
Never paying for that.
No.
But if you want to offer it to
you would
me,
like Johnny Walker Black.
You think?
Yep.
I don't know. I can't do.
Which is like $45 a bottle.
I just can't do scotch. I don't know what it is. I don't like it.
Did you ever get really drunk on it and were sick on it?
No.
Yeah, it's weird. I used to almost puke immediately when I tried any straight liquor.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Vividly.
Yeah. But even like just a sip to try, I'd be like, oh, like it was all terrible. Yeah. And it's weird how everything flips. The thing is, for anyone who is interested in drinking whiskey, which I don't know why, if you are interested in it, it's almost like you have to force yourself to like it. I found, this is me personally. So just hear me out on this.
Yeah.
I found the more I drank and the more I got accustomed to drinking it.
Right.
That was like, because the first few times we were drinking like Wild Turkey and shit like that, it wasn't very good.
Okay. Now, to be fair, we never, when we first started drinking the Wild Turkey and shit, like Rob was in drinking whiskey.
Yes.
So he would just drink it the way he wanted or the way he knew how to drink it.
Uh-huh.
And we would just take shots out of the bottle. Like that's how we drank it. Or at the end of the night, sometimes we would toss a shit ton of ice.
Yeah. And then I find that's the best way. The number one thing is, however you want to drink it however you want.
Yeah, there's no proper way. There's no proper way to
do it. There'll be people that tell you like never put ice in it. There'll be people that say never don't put ice in it.
Yeah.
Just drink it however you like it.
I wouldn't put water, not ice.
Yeah. The only thing I would say, and this is up to you, but if you are going to drink whiskey, and because as you develop it, you do start to like it and you notice the difference between it. Don't add any like pop or any like club soda or anything. I would just, if it's tough, add a bunch of ice, let the ice melt down a little bit, then it dilutes a bit with water. I was
going to say, let it dilute.
And it's easier drinking. And then you can add, and just small sips. Like it's not, you don't have to fucking pound her home.
So I've watched a couple videos on YouTube and guys that are like avid whiskey drinkers. Like this is what their YouTube is. They fucking drink whiskeys, do like proper testings. They will tell you what's in it, how it was like distilled, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're saying, so
I'm not going to get into all that.
No. But just a rule, like just for people to understand, with all liquors, like, have you ever tried to drink a Bud Light or a Coors Light piss warm? Tastes like shit. But when you have it cold, it's like...
Yeah, you're going to want to put it in the best situation possible.
It's not terrible when it's cold.
Yeah.
And that's because the cold... what the fuck? I can't think of the word.
Science.
I can't think of the word, but it cuts out the nasty shit.
That's the official word.
Yeah. Just like cuts out some of the bad flavoring that's in it. Whereas when it's warm, you get all those fucking flavors. Also goes for when you add water to hard liquor. When you add water, it's going to dilute it, and it's going to be not as harsh.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a really harsh whiskey or something that's got a shit ton of flavor in it, spices, you may want to add some water or a shit ton of ice. Personally, I like my drinks cold.
Same.
I'm going ice all the way. And
I
it
go,
does
like,
dilute it. Sometimes
yeah.
at the end, I hate it. If I let it sit too long and the ice dilutes it like crazy, I put too much in or something.
Yeah.
It like to me, it's just like nasty flavored water.
I never disliked that part, but I do understand how you can get to that. Yeah, that's each to their own on there. But usually when it's the last sip, you just toss her back anyway and have at it. But I did notice, I was telling Antonia this the other day, that I'm almost totally off beer completely.
I am.
But I actually enjoy sitting down. It's like we when she's not pregnant, we drink red wine. And we enjoy getting new red wines. We enjoy getting new bottles, trying it, because you actually enjoy the taste and flavor of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what whiskey's become, or bourbons for me. Like, I enjoy sitting down, having the glass. I get a couple ounces.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice a week during the weekend.
4-finger glass.
4-finger glass. Drink out of the bottle. See what happens on a Monday night. You never know.
That sounds like my Tuesday.
See where it's got to go. And I actually enjoy sitting down with that. So I think that's the easiest way that people, like, because if people enjoy sitting down with a glass of red wine, when you first try it, most people start on white wine and work their way up to red wine. I know I did.
I'd never hated it. I hate white. Never liked it. But I went straight to red.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I don't know, like, couldn't get over the taste of white.
It's not great.
No.
But white wine is easier drinking. So people kind of like, oh, I'd like to start drinking wine. So they usually start on white wines.
Yeah.
And then you move up to reds. And then as you start drinking more red, you start to discover what flavors you like, what you like less. Whiskey is the exact same thing. But it's, when I used to think of whiskey drink, I don't know. I never understood why people did it, because every time I ever tasted it, I'm like, oh, this is fucking gross.
Ass.
Yeah. And then you just get accustomed to the taste and flavor. And it's like anything, you build up a certain thing to it.
We've grown up a lot and like.
Speak for yourself.
Taste, like, no, just like physically, not mentally.
Sexually, you mean?
Yeah.
Your penis is now 4 inches.
Used to be 4.5. It shrunk.
Yeah. It's like a Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, man. But if you're trying whiskey for the first time, try it multiple ways. Try it with a couple ice cubes. Try it with a handful of ice cubes.
Yeah.
Try it neat. Don't put anything in it. Try it with a little bit of water. But add the water a little bit at a time. Yeah,
and when we say add water, you don't want to totally dilute it down. Like,
no.
When we, like, if your tap is dripping from the faucet, let like 5 drops max go in.
Yeah.
Like, that's how little amount you want to do. Like, just a little dropper amount.
When we were at
makes
Wayne
a big
Gretzky's,
difference.
They gave us eyedropper, like the little
Wayne Gretzky's winery, by the way. They also have a whiskey bar.
Shit there. But they gave us, I don't know what, it's like a little eyedropper.
It was a little eyedropper. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said do a couple drops at a time and go from there.
Yeah, the way that they did it was quite funny, because it was me, you, and our buddy Rob sitting there, and
I was so fucked up by the time we got there.
Yeah, that was a good day. But when we were sitting there, Rob is more of a whiskey connoisseur at the time anyway.
At the time, yeah.
And the guy, when he brought us the whiskeys for sampling, he's like, try it first and then add the water. And Rob was like, why would you try it first and then add the water? Like, oh, taste it when it's not at its best first, and then add it and then make it taste better. I kind of understood what he meant.
I think for him, it's like, try it before doing anything to it, because you may like it with nothing in it. But as soon as you add the water, you can't go back.
Yeah, but like, we're talking drops, whatever. I thought it was a strange way for them to do it, personally, as well. I thought it was kind of like,
they were probably just told that way.
For sure they were.
For me, it's like, try it the way it is. Try it the way it's made. Mm-hmm. And especially because, like, if don't do shots of it. Like, don't do shots. Don't do a shooter. Go there and just fucking slam it.
Wet your lips.
Yeah.
Take in the tiniest little bit, and then
put it on your tongue.
Swish it around.
Yeah. Well,
spit it out. Catch it in your eyelids.
Yeah.
And then that's how you drink whiskey.
Yeah. Definitely try it multiple ways. Again, do a couple ice cubes. Try it neat, like whatever. You'll find out what you like. And then again, there's so many different whiskeys. You have Canadian whiskeys, Irish whiskeys, Scotch,
American,
rye. Isn't Canadian whiskey considered rye?
More or less, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, but just to cover my ass.
But it also depends. Like,
that's what I mean. Like, that's why I said both ways.
Like this Gibson's we're drinking, I would consider
it's not rye.
No, it's not rye at
No.
all. But it says Canadian whiskey on it,
Yeah.
and if you look at a bottle of Crown Royal, it says Canadian whiskey.
whiskey.
If you look at Canadian Club, it says Canadian whiskey, but those are ryes.
Yeah.
Those are like that shit you feel in your teeth.
Yeah.
And then you start to
again,
get angry.
I don't. I'm not a fan of like drinking rye straight. I'm a fan of some rye and gingers.
The odd one, like once a year.
Yeah.
And just one for me because
Yeah.
I don't drink any pop or juice or
No,
anything.
neither do
so
I.
sugar hits me pretty fucking hard when I'm drinking.
I
it.
just hate the hangover the next day.
This is a rough one.
Yeah. Although I'm a fan of Moscow mules.
Although, what is that?
No
What's in
idea.
there? You don't know the ingredients in it?
No.
Is there pop in it?
Fuck,
No.
dude,
Yeah, Google.
I just drink them.
All right, fair.
I just drink them.
But
I'm gonna give this
the good
quick
hack
Google.
for anybody if you are gonna drink anything with juice or pop in it, the best way to do that is, let's say like your drink is like 1 part like vodka or gin, and then 2 parts whatever mix. Now whether that be like cranberry juice or whatever, best way to do it is put club soda and then just a splash of whatever pop
Yeah.
or
You got me
juice
hooked
you
on
like.
that.
That's the best way because you get the flavor, but you get none of the sugar or very minimal amount, and
Yeah,
literally
you just
just
get
a
a little
splash,
taste.
and it tastes just like a rum and coke
Yeah, you
or
just get a little taste.
vodka cranberry, whatever.
So it's 2-ounce vodka, lime juice, and ginger beer.
Yeah, I'll fuck
That's a
with that.
Moscow mule. I'm like again. We got ones in cans.
Ginger beer is fucking harsh to drink on its own. Have you
I
ever
know.
tried it on its own?
Yeah, I've tried it on its own, but I
It hurts.
Audrey's parents will have like they'll drink a ginger beer. Like they're not gonna like sit there and
Why?
like guzzle it.
Do they
They'll-
hate themselves?
No, I think it's just some instead of pop, right?
Ugh.
You sip on that.
Sure,
I don't
maybe.
know, there's like I don't know.
I'm less sold on
my
that.
dad's a big fan of carbonation.
Your dad loves carbonation.
Loves it.
My dad's really gotten into the carbonation the last
Really,
5-6 years too. Yeah, he's a big fan of the Coke Zeros and stuff, which, I mean, good on Coca-Cola and Pepsi for convincing people that shit's somehow good for you just because it says zero or
Mhm.
diet on it. It's no good. It's none of it. Nothing's good.
All right, so let's give this thing a rating before we totally forget.
Speaking of totally forget, I'm on my second glass already.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Again, so the last time we tried this, we were drinking the 8-year bowl, and we had that first, and then we went to this, and again, we noticed a big difference between the two. But I really like this. Smooth. It's not very spicy.
Yeah, go through your rating. And then
I'm giving it a 7.2.
a 7.2
7.2.
out of 40.
No, out of 10. Out of 10. Giving it a 7.2.
I've totally changed my tune on this from what I remember. I would say that this is a very good whiskey for people to start on.
Yeah, and I think it's only like
It's super
40,
it's
45
super
bucks for a
smooth. It
bottle.
doesn't have a weird afterburn or aftertaste. It's affordable. I mean,
That's
the
why
main
I picked
thing.
up 2 of them that day. I'm like, holy fuck, because I thought one of them was going to be pricey as fuck.
Yeah.
They were both for like 45 bucks.
I think you can get like top shelf amazing whiskey for around $40 a bottle. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars
No.
on a bottle. Like for
If you
for
want to
anyone
splurge
listening,
once
yeah,
a year or whatever,
yeah, for
go ahead.
anyone listening, we don't go crazy. Like we just go like around the $40 mark, and some of the best bourbons and whiskeys that I've ever had in my life are right around there.
Yeah.
And although when you compare that to like a bottle of vodka, that's like basically $1 a shot, it seems a bit pricier, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Vodka though, okay, you can say that, but like vodka, what, $30 a bottle,
sure, yeah,
right? But you always need to buy something
to go with it.
to go with it,
Yeah.
so you're spending that.
Unless you're Russian, in which
$40
case you're
anyways.
just fucking putting that in an IV and
Yeah,
just
I don't know
putting yourself
how,
on a
like,
drip.
I'm past those days, way past those days of doing shots of vodka.
Oh my god! Speaking of shots, my father-in-law was over last night.
Doing shots?
We drank a fucking full bottle of Bushmills.
Nice.
Just doing shots though, not even like
Jesus.
drink, not even enjoying it, which sucks because I
Yeah.
really like Bushmills. It's
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah.
But we were just putting them back,
Pounding it back.
putting them back. I was
Nice.
drinking Kronenberg Blancs like a fancy girl,
Nice.
which are I love that beer.
Yeah.
You had those?
I don't think so.
They're really good. You'd like them.
So, to speak about beer, you're like completely off of it.
More or less. I
I
say that
haven't-
as I was drinking it last night, but yeah.
But I haven't bought a beer in ages. I had a beer the other night when we saw Rob,
yeah.
but it was like what people consider a hipster beer, which is just like a hoppier fucking.
Which is
More flavorful
Those
beer.
have become so common. Like my
I
stepfather,
fucking love those beers
Yeah,
over a
that's-
fucking Bud Light.
that's all
or-
he drinks now is the craft beers.
Yeah,
He's hooked on them.
So good.
Yeah. And I
Nah,
see
don't
the
get me
point.
wrong. There's terrible ones.
For sure there is, but there's also a lot of good ones, and they are better than than just going out and sipping on like a Molson Canadian. Like those beers are good if you just want to drink a bunch of them in an afternoon while you're golfing or you're looking to get fucking halfway fucked up.
Yeah.
They're good for putting back. But if you just want to sit and actually enjoy the beer, it's the same thing as this. Like some people just enjoy sitting down, trying a different beer. This one's a little bit hoppy. This one's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm more away from the beer now. I'm not as into it as I used to be, but I understand. It's the exact same thing. It's just like everyone's got their own little avenue, whether that's wine or whiskey or whatever the fuck. So anyway, I'm going to do my rating.
Yeah, do it.
So for anyone that wants to try whiskey for the first time, I would totally recommend this.
As a starter bottle.
I would.
Yeah.
It's super smooth. Yeah. It's really nice. If you're going off of taste, flavor, and smoothness and all those things combined, I would put it at like an 8.6.
Holy shit. You're giving it a high rating.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to write this down so we don't forget it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Wow. Okay.
I think I think it's quite good for what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't think, and it's Canadian, which is nice as well. I would put it that high. I mean, you got to figure how you're rating these things. So, and again, obviously these things are subjective because I like certain flavors and things. Like this is not something that I would go and buy right away because I do like something with a bit more bite to it.
Same.
But if you're just if you're gonna rate a drink based off of like the standard things like how smooth it is, overall flavor, taste, drinkability, and all those things, I think it's pretty high on. I think it's pretty close to 10.
See, so I'm just going based like this is my. I'm not doing a review for anybody else. This is also my review for the same thing. Yeah. So I know for a fact I've had other whiskeys that are like blow this thing out of the water.
I would too, so but I would also rate those lower though.
Really?
I would.
See, I'm leaving myself a little leeway because again, it's coming down to this is my
I get it.
My suggestion or whatever. But it just doesn't have enough flavor, but it is incredibly smooth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lacking in flavor. 7.2.
Fair enough.
I've had
8.6 for me, and I'm just basing it off of because I don't know how to really rate things properly, so I'm just gonna go off of like taste, flavor. So
sure.
I mean,
hey, you do.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to explain my answer here, but
if you gave it a 10, I'd fucking tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anything can be a 10.
But there might be things that I rate a 9, which based on the smoothness and shit like that are not even close to this. Like there's a lot of bourbons and whiskeys that you and I drink that are nowhere near as smooth as this.
Yeah.
That I would drink 100 times before I drink this. Just to preface my answer.
Oh, 100%. That's why again, like it's a mid-range whiskey for me. It's in that 7.2 range because again, there's other whiskeys that I prefer.
So you're saving shit for you're saving 8. Like 8s are a really high number for you.
8's good, yeah. If you're in the 9s, you better go out and buy it.
I think if you want to start drinking whiskey, go out and buy
this. This is a great starter bottle.
That's why I would put it in the 8s.
Sure, I'm not trying to knock your answer.
Oh, I know you're not. I'm just trying to rationalize it.
Sure.
Because I'm not just rationalizing it for you. I'm also doing it for the people that are listening.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm gonna fucking drink the shit out of it.
But you know what? Having it today, I was a little worried when you pulled it out of the cupboard. But
so was I.
Because I didn't enjoy it the last time.
Neither did
we smashed that 8-year bottle early.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were left with this and barely touched it from what we did in
we also drank half of it still. Dude, how much?
It was just up to that line.
It was here, man.
Was it?
Dude, we drank a bottle and a half that night.
Okay, I didn't think we touched it that
much. And that was over and above
this was
beers.
the second if we have to.
Yeah, it's weird. But you know what that goes back to is what I was saying before. There's things that I prefer in a whiskey that I would put above this.
Yeah.
Like that bold, I'd like better.
100%.
Because it's got a better bite. It's got a bit more flavor. Yeah. It's a bit more easy big boy. And I enjoy that. But a lot of people
of the 8 wasn't crazy either.
A lot of people won't like it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't crazy at all.
But see, I'm not doing my rating for the people.
Oh, you're not a people person.
I'm doing the rating. This is my rate. This is my rating.
Yeah, this is my rating too.
Okay.
You keep trying to say it. Anyway, what I'm referring to is the general.
Can we go
mass.
back to this is my rating?
Yeah. Is it your rating? Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ.
Oh God.
But if we pulled out that 8, I would put it above this on a personal level.
I'm curious to see what it was made with, because if it's rye, then would be considered a rye.
You know what we should do?
I have no idea. I'm not going to read
Is
that.
we should probably pick up a bottle of Crown just to do as like a comparison. And I'm not saying
small bottle.
Yeah, like a Mickey just for a
the
taste.
2 shots that you get at
Yeah, sure, even that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm just for the comparison of taste, because as we were talking about before, neither of us really drink too much rye, but I find it has a very distinct flavor.
100%.
Over what someone would classify as whiskey. And that was always the reason I stayed away from Canadian whiskeys, because I assumed most of them were rye.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I thought Canadian whiskeys were strictly made from
pretty much, yeah.
But I think I'm very wrong on that.
Yeah. And I don't even know what sort of shit you got to put in to make it whiskey, what the difference is. So I think...
yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Certainly not educated. That I know for sure.
I'm a fan of the whiskeys.
Bourbon's
Irish whiskey. Whiskey.
Yeah. No question.
I'm a fan. That's my go-to drink.
Yeah.
The thing...
I quite enjoy this.
I'm kind of glad that you're into the whiskeys too. Like, I know Rob is, but I think me and Rob have a very different palate when it comes to whiskeys. Like, again, he loves Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
He'll go out and buy like the 18-year.
Which, if you like Scotch, you probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, same with my brother. My brother loves Scotch.
It's my grandfather as well.
I can't do it.
But my problem is, because I don't drink a lot of Scotch.
Yeah.
I also work with a guy that quite enjoys the Scotch as well. I'm really bad at picking them. So I will, like, if I'm going to buy one as a gift, like I got one for my grandfather for Christmas.
Yeah.
Just like, as like, I kind of get people, like my family, I'll get them each a bottle of something they like.
Sure.
And I know he likes Scotch, but I was like, literally fucking put a blindfold on me. I could have picked a good one.
This one.
Could have picked a bad one.
Yeah.
And it was like around $60 a bottle. I'm like,
sure.
Seems expensive, but fuck, man. Like, there's a lot of
shit is sometimes dog shit.
It absolutely is. And back to red wine, like there's great red wines out there that are $9 a bottle. I was
gonna say $9.
Yeah.
Fucking $10 a bottle.
My aunt picked up her sommelier license for shits and gigs a few years ago.
Yeah. Is that the one across the lake from your dad?
That's Uncle Scott's wife.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I love those guys, by the way.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah. They're awesome people.
If you guys are listening, love you.
No, they're too smart to listen.
Yeah, definitely.
So her having that sommelier license, she's got a ton of great wine. And also she has some money so she can splash out on wine. But she was picking for her daughter's wedding a couple years ago. And because you have to buy all the wine by the bottle and stuff. She found a wine that's still in the LCBO right now. It's $8.95. It's an Italian wine, Fantini. It's like it got 96 points at a wine, like the yearly thing. Yeah, whatever. It's an award-winning wine, $8.95. It doesn't even have a fucking cork in it. And most people, I think, would walk by that, myself included, before I knew about this, would walk by that and go, I'm not buying that because it's probably shit. Mm-hmm. One of the best ones you can get out there.
So there's
hands down. And then you can spend $22 or $40 or $50 on a bottle of wine that shit. I would say would taste comparable or even less to that.
Yeah.
On my own experience.
100%. But there's whiskeys, there's everything like
Everything's like that.
So Audrey found this wine. I have no idea what the name is, but if you're at the LCBO, on the label, there's a pink like paint smear and a purple paint smear. Like, that's the label. It's like somebody took their 2 fingers with different paint on it and just smeared the label. That's what it looked like. I call it the Pap smear.
The Pap smear. I believe that's the technical term for that word.
I'm pretty sure that's the name of the wine. It's called Pap smear. But it's fantastic. It's a good wine.
Yeah.
And again, it's not very expensive.
You don't know if it's a Cab or a Merlot or what country it's from?
It might be a Cab.
Yeah, you're just roughing.
You have no idea. Off the top of the dome.
The ones that
spit in front of the top of
the ones that are fucking hit and miss that me and my wife quite like are Malbecs.
Never even heard of it.
Sure. It's mostly like an Argentinian wine.
Okay.
They're all about like $17, $18 a bottle.
Okay.
But the difference in some of them is huge.
Really?
Like, some are like cat piss and some are like this is the best wine I've ever had in my life. So when you find
why is all alcohol referred to as piss?
Because it's the ammonia in it.
It is. Because like my uncle used to call beer squirrel piss. Wine apparently is cat piss.
Yeah, white wine is cat piss. I should have been more specific. Yeah, but there's some that are that garbage. Yeah. And we've kind of nestled through most of them. We're like, oh, this one's and so like when you find a good one, when you find a good one, you're like, oh fuck, like write that one down. But it's weird. That's one of those wines that's like consistent right across the board in price. And it's like, it's a specific grape and it's I think it's the grape that makes it like a Malbec or a Merlot or something like that. Again, whoever's listening and is currently getting mad at me, Lucas,
Throw him under the
for
bus
being
real
wrong. I'm sorry, but again, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, but it's fun to talk.
Yeah.
And
hey, again, this podcast is by friends,
for friends.
for friends.
Yeah, you got any listener, whether you know us or don't, you're a friend, and we greatly appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's how it's made. So whether it's a type of grape that, or maybe it's a region that it'll get its name from, but these are right across the board, and they are fucking super hit and miss.
Really?
But when they hit, they're perfect.
They're
like it's like
stellar.
Yeah, they're really good. Not even really much of a talk about it.
Remind me, we need to take a picture after this because I got an idea for like when we post the ratings of our whiskeys.
Mm-hmm.
When we do our ratings, I've got an idea for like
Drunk scale.
No. I just need I need like a. I think we'll end up redoing these, but I think we should dress up in like very old fashioned like clothes.
Perfect.
And like
with the old like caps.
Look
sweater
very
vests.
Yeah, look very
distinguished.
Yeah.
Distinguished is the word you're looking for.
If we can get a
tell.
pipe, it'd be amazing because I do want a pipe for my fucking picture.
Crack pipe. I think we should have crack pipes in our... Let's put a little twist on it.
Yeah. We should.
Just be rocking crack pipes.
But I think that'd be hilarious, and then we could like put the bottle and our rating above it. And
sure.
shit.
Yeah. I'm into that. That's a funny idea.
Yeah.
What we should do is now go and
But
fucking...
we'll do a picture for today. Like,
we should just go and hit up fucking thrift store or something like that. It's the best places for those things.
100%.
Value
Probably
to
got
look at
shit in
some.
my house. I definitely have a sweater I could wear that I've kept.
Yeah.
That I bought for an ugly sweater, and I realized,
do you have any proper Christmas ugly sweaters?
Yeah. But you know when Mackenzie used to do her ugly sweater parties? I think one year I went and I bought 3 sweaters, and only one I planned on wearing like that night. The other 2 were probably I could have definitely worn, but I wore them on a regular basis.
Since then,
yeah,
you wear them on like a Saturday in March.
Yeah. One's like an old, like it looks like a like what Bill Cosby would wear in
when he was raping
show.
people.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Oh shit.
Her ugly Christmas sweater party, I bought a sweater, and it wasn't even a Christmas sweater, but it was so ugly.
It didn't matter.
It honestly
doesn't even matter.
It looked like fucking baby shit color.
It was just an ugly sweater party.
Yeah, it was.
But it was at Christmas time, so it was a...
I just got a really good...
ugly sweater Christmas party.
I just got a really good Christmas sweater. It's Mr. Leahy, pounding out of the ball. Did I show you?
Yeah, you sent me a text. You're like, this just came in.
Yeah.
You sent it to me the night we went to Rob's. And you like came home, and I guess it arrived while we were gone.
Must have, yeah.
Because you sent me a picture as soon as you got home. I'm like, oh my god, this is hilarious.
Yeah, it's Mr. Leahy from the Trailer Park Boys with a Santa hat on, and he's pounding a bottle like Alberta Premium by the bottle, and it says "I am the liquor." So it's my new.
That's your new sweater.
It's my new Christmas sweater. I do have another good one. That's at a glance, it is a Christmas sweater. It's like got like frolicking reindeer on it.
Yeah.
But at a closer glance, they're having a threesome. It's 3 deer having a threesome. I got that actually at a designated ugly Christmas store for a party. Dude, I'm gonna say 7 years ago.
I want to say
because they had those little pop-up stores in the malls back in the day.
The second year we did a ugly Christmas sweater thing, they started popping up.
They came up pretty quick.
Because when Mackenzie did hers, and then I think there was another one the following year. Like you had to go to like the thrift show. That was
the only place you could find them.
Giant Tiger, fucking
I got mine from Value Village, and it wasn't a Christmas sweater. It was just an ugly fucking sweater.
Yeah, same.
And I'm like, I guess this is good enough. It's kind of green.
It's fucking ugly.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Throw this bad boy on. Yeah. I'm not even gonna wash it.
They do wash it.
I know they do, but I like the musk.
Dude, there is a musk. It doesn't matter which store you get it from. There is a musk,
and it's needed. Man. That's how you know it's legit.
That's too funny. What are your favorite Christmas movies?
I was actually going to ask you the same thing.
Because we talked about it last week after the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say is we spent so much time hyping up Halloween, and now we're into December, and we should probably talk a little bit about Christmas movies and stuff.
So I told Audrey, you and Antonia like got your tree, and we were doing the podcast after you got the tree because Sunday you were putting up the tree and then watching Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, we should watch one. We haven't watched one.
No?
That's what, a week and a half now?
You guys are nailing it.
Yeah, killing
You guys
it.
are in the Christmas spirit.
Oh my God, so much.
You smelled like gingerbread when you came over, I could tell.
No, again, Kate, let's be fair. It's hard to say, oh, I have one all-time favorite. Actually, that's false, I do.
Well, why don't we try to combine some sort of top 5 list between the two of us?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some that are a must watch.
What's on your top 5? Like what is one that you
I don't know if I can name 5, but
No, but we'll combine this list because
Sure.
because I don't have
we can also eliminate some.
Yeah, sure. Like let's just work through this.
Okay, the first one that comes to mind, it's a newer one. It's the one with it's kind of a festive movie because it's like both Hanukkah and Christmas. It's with Seth Rogen. Don't know the name of it.
Night Before.
And they go get fucked up on like
the movie's called The
shit.
Night Before.
Yeah. Okay.
That is a fun movie.
Night Before, that's a good one. It's just a funny comedy.
It's a good comedy, but they kind of do like a take on like the ghosts of Christmas because of the drug dealers and shit that are in it.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny movie.
Yeah.
That one's good.
Home Alone.
Yeah, that's a can't miss for me. That's on my top 5.
Any of them. Like of the older one. I don't know if they've
only
tried
the first
to redo.
one. Only the first. They've made like 5.
First one is definitely hands down the best one.
Yeah.
But like I would say, because I only
for
thought
the sake
there was
of this,
3.
For the sake of this list, the other ones are not getting on there.
It's the first one. You got to go first.
Yeah.
First Santa Claus.
Yeah, we just watched
with
that.
Tim Allen.
That movie is undefeated. That might be my favorite one ever.
Really?
Yeah, I because we just rewatched that.
See, now this is my thing with saying it's your all-time favorite.
Because I'll say one, then it'll contradict myself. But.
Not even that. It's for me at least. It's the mood you're in. If I'm not in the mood for like that type of movie where it's kind of like heartfelt, whatever, and I'm straight pure comedy, want to piss myself, all-time favorite is The Night Before.
But I don't watch Christmas movies if I'm not in the mood to watch a Christmas movie.
Yeah, but like The Night Before, I could watch.
You could watch that in July.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like again, if it's Christmas, I got to be in the mood. That's why I haven't really wanted to watch one the last couple.
Well, anyway, I was in the mood.
Okay.
And we watched the Santa Claus, and we'd watched 3 or 4 up to that point. We compiled like a 10 movie list that we want to kind of work our way through.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's so hard. It's like, oh, let's watch a Christmas movie, and then you're thinking like, what the fuck can we watch?
Do we watch?
But if you just like write them down as they come to you, then you just kind of like go through and check them off your list. I find that worked really well for us this year because we've actually been because we're like, should we watch a Christmas movie? Yeah, I kind of feel like one. What should we watch? Go to the list, pick one off. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, the very first one, is such a good movie, and it's a pretty original idea how he becomes Santa Claus and all that shit, and it's quite funny as well. And I hadn't seen it in a lot of years, and I forgot how good it was. It was really good.
It's hilarious how he becomes Santa. Like,
yeah, it's outrageous.
It's just fucking so dumb. I love Tim Allen.
I did too.
I used to watch Home Improvement
because it was on after school.
Going out of style. Like,
I loved that.
That was
show.
one of my go-to shows back.
It was great. He used to electrocute the fuck out of himself. What are you doing? You on fucking Twitter or what?
No, I'm writing down our movie things because I got nowhere to write using my notepad.
Just write them down at the end. I'm
gonna forget. That's why I told you about the pictures.
We haven't made a solid list yet, so you don't need to write shit down.
No, but I'm writing down all of them, and then after we can.
All right, fine.
Combine the list.
Where's your notepad?
Where do you want me to write?
Put on your penis and write on it.
Dude, look at my legs.
I'll write it down.
Look at my legs.
I'm
as close to this fucking
We should specify, we're not in the garage for this podcast.
No, we're in the basement.
It's too cold in the garage. Live from the basement. Basement media coming at you. It's too cold in the garage, so I think we're going to move into here for the duration. We have a pretty rough setup right now. It's working pretty well.
Actually, this is pretty fucking solid.
The only problem is...
we could turn this around, though.
We can tweak this.
If
we can improve upon it.
Flip this upside down, we could use it, and then we have a flat surface.
To rest shit on. I think you're probably right. But we'll find out next week.
Find out in next week's episode.
Next week's episode. Have they gotten their shit together? The answer is still no.
Hell no.
No, absolutely not. People are going to eventually stop tuning in. They're like, they still haven't gotten their shit together.
They'll skip a few episodes. Be like,
wow.
They've got to have it settled
Episode 25. They're
live from the rooftop.
Hanging out waiting for Santa Claus.
Why is Chris playing the piano?
Yeah, we have this pretty rough setup, but I think we can expand upon it.
Yeah.
Whereas
It'll
our
be
old
fine.
one, we had a table.
It was perfect.
So people don't wonder what the fuck we're
table
talking
was
about.
ginormous.
Yeah, but it was
perfect.
enough room for us to put our laptop.
Yeah.
If I wanted to GLE something, we could set our whiskey there and our drinks. Right now, we just have room for a microphone,
whiskey,
and 2 glasses. 2 glasses.
Waters are on the floor.
But number one thing, it's warm. That is super
I almost
important.
want to take off my sweater, but
I took mine off.
I'm gonna sweat through it because I need to sweat.
Don't sweat my nose, bro.
Yo, get this fucking story. We ordered lazy fucks. Ordered Uber Eats.
Gross.
Dairy Queen.
How recently was this?
2 nights ago.
Nice.
Okay.
Well,
ordered
recent was the time
2
before
Blizzard.
That? 2 nights before that?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah. It was like we ordered Monday and then we ordered Thursday. It's something like that. I don't know. I got an addiction problem with ice cream. Okay, leave me alone.
Good addiction.
Yeah, it is. So we ordered 2 Blizzards. We got a Oreo ice cream cake that showed up. No Blizzards. So we're like, okay, we put in a complaint, got our money back. We replaced our order.
Smashed the
No,
Oreo
I don't know.
cake?
We haven't touched the cake yet.
No?
It said, "Love you, boys." And as I pulled it out of the bag, because they bag it now, so I thought it was on a tray.
I've never done Uber Eats in my life.
So I thought it was on a tray, like the 2 Blizzards. Pull it out, it's a fucking cake.
Not because I think that I'm
Sure,
superior,
yeah.
but just because
just
it's not in
the
my town.
area.
Yeah. just to throw that out there.
So I pull it out and I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's a fucking cake. Really? And I thought Audrey was trying to be funny and get a cake instead of a Blizzard.
And you're like, okay, where's the Blizzards?
Yeah. But also, as I pulled it out, I'm like, I wanted Score, not Oreo. And they make Score cakes.
Yeah.
And like, as I pulled it out, I see I love you. And it starts with a B. I'm like, oh, babe, right? Like, thanks, but I wanted Oreo.
Yeah, like, bitch.
Beat up.
Fuck you.
Beat it.
Get the fuck out of here.
Go get me a fucking Oreo.
Where's my
or
Blizzard?
a Score Blizzard.
Peasant.
Pull it out. It says, love you, boys. I'm like,
Wrong
they
word.
gave us the wrong fucking order. So she calls me, is like, yo, can you make sure you send us the right fucking shit? Yeah, we'll make sure. Order our Blizzards again. Blizzards show up. We ordered 2. 7 show up.
Nice.
The Uber driver dropped off the wrong order, like our order and somebody else's.
Perfect.
Audrey, the amazing woman she is, calls the dude twice. Dude hangs up twice.
Nice. I would too. Fuck
Okay.
you. You got your Blizzard. Shut the fuck up.
Well, but we're trying to tell you, you dropped off the wrong, like,
Yeah, like
our
come
order
back and get these and
our
deliver in the
order
right place.
and somebody else.
Because you're about to show up empty-handed.
Yeah. So after the second one, Audrey brought him in the house and he was like, yo, we got extra Blizzards. Her
Balling out of control.
Her stepdad fucking ate one, and so he should have.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna eat another one probably tonight.
Yeah, I'm of seconds. Did you guys put them in the freezer to preserve?
Yeah.
Nice.
And the guy comes back. He goes, like, literally had enough time to crush an ice cream. It's not me or Antonia crushing an ice cream. Like, it wasn't 2 minutes, but it was like good, like 15, 20 minutes after he
If I
delivered.
get a large Blizzard from Dairy Queen,
Dude, it's
most
gone.
of it's gone by the time I get home.
Yeah.
in a 2-minute
I
drive.
crush ice cream. It's like,
It's gross.
now Antonia outbeats me by far.
She's also pregnant.
No. Before that.
She was pregnant then too.
Because I remember one time we were at your cottage. She got a double scoop and I got a single.
Oh fuck!
And she was almost done the double before I was halfway through mine.
My
I'm
favorite
like, fuck.
photos ever. Of
And
my,
I eat this shit quick.
my
That's nice.
beautiful bride is is her, and she's got a double scoop of ice cream,
Yeah.
and it's like the 12th double scoop of ice cream I've seen her smash that summer probably, and it's
Good
just
for her.
she's got the funniest face on when she's doing it.
Good for
She
her.
put them on socks for me. That's how much I like the photo. It was
That's fucking
yeah,
hilarious.
it was really good. And it's her like, and it's like because she's so small,
Yeah.
and it's just like this mountain of ice cream in front of her face.
Yo, they do
It's
it
pretty
right
funny.
by your
By the
your
cottage there? Yeah.
Oh my god, it's yeah, they do it right.
Well, it's in the
It's
Kawartha
a
Lakes, and
proper
it's
scoop.
Kawartha Lake ice cream.
It's a proper scoop though. Some places
Some people cheap
skimp
out pretty
on
hard,
on the scoops.
man. It's pretty fucking.
She looks fantastic though.
Yeah.
She does.
She looks pregnant too.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Week 20 was today.
Oh,
I think that's
that's fucking
halfway
exciting.
home. I think
I don't know.
same. I think we're about halfway there.
Okay.
We're in. That's 5 months pregnant, something like that.
I still think it's hilarious when
4 months.
I think it was when I was stealing your TV she's like, I eat like
Did you
6
take the
times a
remote?
day. Yeah, I did. She gave it to me though. She's like, I eat like 6 times a day. And I'm thinking to myself, that's a regular day for me.
Yeah.
Like, that's a slow day. Dude, I eat so much.
She's eating like a horse, but it's understandable.
Well, she's feeding for 2.
She's growing a human.
And if that thing has your head, it's going to need a lot to
trouble
develop.
It's amazing that a head this big has such little brain matter in it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's almost impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
All right. Back to fucking Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, holy fuck.
That was a diatribe and a half.
Yeah.
Home Alone is mine. Santa Claus is on there.
Yeah.
Would you classify, this is always a big sticking issue for me personally. Do you
If
put...
you're going to say Nightmare Before Christmas, I'm going to say, hell no, never
It's not a
watched
Christmas movie.
it. Never watched it.
You never seen Nightmare Before Christmas?
Never. I've watched maybe 5 minutes.
Okay. So you're a bad person to ask this question.
So, guys, this is the end of the podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
And
right,
see you never.
No, that sucks because I wanted to ask you whether you think it's more of a Halloween movie or more of a Christmas movie. For me, I think it's more of a Halloween movie.
And I'm going to agree with you from what I've seen. For me, the feel...
Seen 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Shut up.
But I'm going to still give you my opinion. Yeah, it's more of a Halloween movie. It's got more of the Halloween feel to it than a Christmas movie.
I think so too, because even as the movie carries on, they try to do Christmas, and they go through Christmas, and at the end, they just realize how much they love Halloween. So I'm like, oh, it's like a love movie for Halloween.
Yeah,
in my mind. But
yeah,
on almost any Christmas movie list that you look at,
it's on there.
It's on there, and it's on there pretty high. I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
What are your thoughts on Die Hard?
I've never seen it, so. I know that people say it's a Christmas movie. I don't understand how
it's a Christmas movie.
I think it takes place on Christmas Eve.
It does, but
it's
still.
But you know what it is?
Still.
It's smart. Of
it's a great movie. I love it.
Whoever started calling into Christmas movies was probably like some dad.
Yeah.
That like was sick of...
Loves it.
He just wanted to see an action movie. He's like, it's a fucking Christmas movie. So it takes place on Christmas Eve. He's just trying to get home for the Christmas. Yeah. It's the holiday season. Blah, blah, blah. And then somehow he managed to convince the entire world
that it's a fucking Christmas movie. It's a great movie. And I'm not going to knock it. But me and my brother always end up watching Star Wars. 1 or 2 of them. Any of them.
Around Christmas time?
Always. Yeah. Like, again, Christmas Day or Boxing Day.
Those are pretty good movies to watch around the holidays.
We're big Star Wars.
Yeah.
Love
them. Fair enough.
Okay.
So I just watched...
I'm not putting any of those 2 on the list since I haven't seen one. And
no, and I wasn't going to put Nightmare Before... I was just curious of your opinion. And
so what else? What else you got?
One that I just saw for the first time was Polar Express.
Oh, that's a great movie.
I totally disagree.
Really?
Yeah, completely disagree. Okay. I just watched this for the other night.
Okay.
I'd never seen it, and I never seen it as a kid. So, but there's a whole thought process behind this. So just let me get through this.
Sure.
When that movie was advertised, it was advertised as like, it was like one of these like marvels of the ages. It was live motion capture for one of the first times.
Yeah.
The animation was so good at the time. It looked
fantastic at the time.
It looked real.
Yeah.
Watching it now, obviously, you can't fault the technology for it. It's like Xbox 360 technology. It's
when
good.
It came out, it was fantastic.
It looked
now
it was like hard
dog shit.
I wouldn't even say it's that bad. It's definitely aged with the time. But what I realized watching the movie is that there's no plot to the movie. The whole movie is just, hey, look at the animation, look at how cool this movie is, and they forgot to write in a plot to said movie.
So can I be fair? I haven't watched it in a couple of years.
Rewatch it, and then you'll realize that there's no plot or any sort of discernible idea as to what's happening. The kid falls asleep. He wakes up. A train comes through. They're like, oh, we're going to go see Santa. And then a bunch of shit happens really just for the sake of happening. And I think the reason that these things happen is to show off the animation. Because a lot of it's like adventure outside. The snow is blowing. And I think it just sucks you in at the time. It was like, oh my God, this movie's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's great. It's Christmassy, whatever.
Crazy. Yeah, yeah.
It looks amazing.
So
but then when you're actually watching it, and now the only thing you're not focused on is the animation.
Yeah.
Because it's not up to
when you're thinking about story.
Yeah, well, because you're not focusing on it because it's just like, oh, this is just an animated film. It looks regular, no problem. So now let's actually watch the movie. And you're watching, like, oh, this movie has no plot really at all.
What am I watching?
It was quite interesting.
Okay.
Because Antonia suggested, she's like, I love this movie. And then we watched it.
Now, did she have the same feelings?
I asked her about it after, and I'm like, what was that even really about? And she's like, you know what? It's a fucking...
I have no idea.
Like, there's not a whole lot of plot to it. Like, we were watching it, and we were kind of talking shit throughout it in a joking fashion.
Yeah.
I thought that movie... whatever. Like, listen to me, fucking film critic, but
whiskey critic, film critic.
Shut the fuck up, Chris. I didn't think it was like, as far as a Christmas movie, there's way better ones. I think that movie hooked.
Yeah,
people.
100%. There's way better ones.
I think it.
But it's.
I think it hoodwinked people.
So can I tell you why I like it?
Yeah.
So, my parent or a family member gave me and my brother the Polar Express book, and that was something like my parents always read like around nighttime.
Okay.
When we were younger. And
was it a book before it was a movie?
I think so.
Okay, I did not know that.
So when the movie came out, I had that to reference from the book.
Well, that makes more
sense. Now the book is now fucking a movie. So I think that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, that holds some sort of sentimental value, and that makes a lot more sense too.
But I can totally see, like, again, I haven't watched it in years, but
I would be interested in your take on it now. Like, just maybe rewatch it.
Maybe that's the movie we'll start with.
Yeah, because I found it just kind of, the talk around that movie always was
that scared the fuck out of me.
Hey, we should pause for a second.
Yeah, okay. And we're back.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. The doorbell went off.
Yeah.
Again, tip-top production value we have in this place.
Antonio got schemed.
I just listened to my wife get scammed by some guy that was on cocaine selling door-to-door
I've never
pizzas.
heard somebody talk that fast ever. I've hung around some people doing some fucking...
It's a pretty impressive sales pitch when you talk so much that the person can't say no right away. So you just talk really fast and it's just like, it's whatever.
Dude, at first I couldn't understand him. Literally couldn't understand a word he was saying at the start. All except for little kids hockey. And it's like, bro, there hasn't been hockey all year.
Hockey's canceled, bro.
Guy.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, beat it. I was telling Chris, I'm like, man, you should have just fucking, like, as low as you could go, no.
I didn't hear you say that.
Oh, really?
And
that might have embarrassed fucking Antonio.
Yeah, she's too nice. She's at the door.
She really is.
There's a guy in cocaine talking in front of her. How can she say no, really?
I know, right? Oh. You literally just bought him cocaine. That guy's like, hell yeah. This fucking lady just gave me $25.
They must have known she was pregnant.
See you next year.
Yeah.
Beat it. He's coming by next week.
The hilarious thing is, I don't even think this pizza place exists. I've never even heard of them.
That flyer he had.
Yeah. I live in this town. There's not that many pizza places.
Oh, Jesus.
It's okay. Push against it.
No. I don't want to.
It won't break.
I don't want to cause anything to go wrong.
It won't break.
It's okay.
Look at this. Real sturdy. It's made of wood.
Yeah. You lean up against it. You're good. Oh, man.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. I forget where we're at, but it was Christmas movies. Anyways,
Christmas movies.
I think...
you haven't really... You said two that I've said.
Okay, so...
I said Night Before.
So the one that I really liked was Christmas Carol, the animated one with Jim Carrey. I'd never seen it before, and I feel like it was a pretty good representation of A Christmas Carol. I would put that on any list. Also, on any list that I have, Netflix did a movie called Klaus last year, which was really good. Really good Christmas movie.
Klaus.
Very surprising.
Okay.
I put that on a list. Jingle All the Way is pretty funny. I don't know if it's a top 5 movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I rewatched it.
That's a funny movie.
Yeah, we just rewatched it again now that it's December and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was really apprehensive the last few years to watch it because I hadn't. I'm like, because I enjoyed it as a kid, but then I kind of had this weird memory that it was like over the top and cheesy, and it wasn't like enjoyable if you were an adult.
That's the one where he's trying to get the toy for his kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Turbo Man.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Who said you could have my cookies?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of like adult jokes in there. It's a pretty well done movie. It was quite enjoyable.
That's my favorite.
Who said you got my cookies?
Those are my cookies.
He's a psychopath in that movie. That movie's out of its fucking mind.
I still remember the day your dad sent you the picture of him and Arnold in the cigar shop down in California.
No caption. Just sends the photo.
And we were together that day. And you're like, oh, look at this. I'm like, oh, shit.
You know what my dad called him? He's like, hey, Terminator. He couldn't even say
so hard.
Couldn't even say fucking Arnold. Couldn't even get the words out of his mouth.
Jesus Christ.
The best part about that photo is the size of cigar in fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger's hands. Also the size of him.
Yeah.
And how my dad's got his arm on his shoulder as if like they're old pals.
Yeah. I love your dad, man.
So anyway, I did say ones that you mentioned before.
Yeah.
I would
But
put,
those are,
but they're good.
Those
That's
are
the
hands
thing. So we're
down,
gonna
like-
agree on certain things.
Yeah.
Home Alone, Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I really like Klaus. I think A Christmas Carol was really good, and I thought this
Jingle All
movie
the Way.
was good because there's like the older versions of A Christmas Carol with like the three ghosts and shit. But this one, because it was animated, I feel like it was probably as close to the book as possible.
Okay.
Because the book, I'm sure, it's Charles Dickens. I'm sure is very descriptive in the things that they do.
Wouldn't know. I can't read.
This is just an assumption. This is my fucking assumption on it. But because it's animated, they can properly portray it, I think is the word. Whereas before, I remember watching the black and white one, and it's kind of like room to room
Black
and like
white.
white and whiskey. White whiskey.
Whip.
Cool whip. White wine. You don't even have to have an H in wine.
No, you
Just
don't. You
fucking
just
pop
gotta
it in
say
there.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they did a pretty good job just like putting it out there. Also, Jim Carrey's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And that was one of those movies too that was kind of riding on the same. It came around around the same time as Polar Express.
Mm-hmm.
It was 3D. It's like it was motion capture. The animation is good, but I really enjoyed the story because I think they kind of fucking nailed the whole thing.
They actually
really good.
focused on the story.
Yeah, it was good, and it wasn't. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a kid's movie because it like there's parts that are like if I was a kid watching that, I'd be kind of nervous or freaked out at certain points of it.
Mhm.
They didn't try to dumb it down, in my estimation. They didn't try to like make it for kids or like dress it up a little bit. I think they just kind of fucking. Why don't we just do the story?
Yeah.
Which is mostly for kids, anyways. But
Yeah.
they didn't dull down the parts that were like when he's falling into a grave or there's like Grim Reaper and shit like that. They made it kind of what it was supposed to be, I think.
Yeah.
And that's one I'd never seen up until a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So I quite enjoyed that. What else do we have? I'm just going off the top
Elf.
of my head. Elf's
With,
a good one.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
Love that one.
that's a good one too.
That's a good one. I'm kind of drawing a blank though, to be honest. I will say this. This is the one time of year where if I flick on the television and there's a stupid fucking Hallmark movie on,
You're watching it.
I get fucking lured into that shit.
Do you watch them?
Sometimes,
Oh
man.
wow, good for
I'll be
you.
like, there's nothing on. What is this?
The Grinch.
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, the
after
animated
this,
or
but-
the Jim Carrey one are interchangeable for
So
me.
which one are you could care less? Either one?
If I could only watch one and show my kids one, I would do the original animated one. It's kind of timeless. If I have to pick one, but that Jim Carrey one's fucking. It's really funny. That's a really good kids flick.
So I got to go animated on this. The Jim Carrey one was phenomenal.
I'm
And they
animated
did
as
it-
well.
They did it great, but nothing will beat the animated version.
I think you're right. I think it's really good.
It's too good. It's too good.
Another one that I saw on here, which is a bit of a cheesy one. I don't know if you've ever seen it, is Love Actually. It's a
No,
pretty
I
good.
don't think so.
It's got a pretty good cast in it. It's live. It's not. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't follow any of this sort of thing. It's a pretty funny movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think we got to.
we're in agreement on Home Alone, The Grinch,
We'll talk
Santa
about it
Claus.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after. Get a top 5 and send it out.
Yeah. Piece it out there.
We'll let y'all know. Also, hey,
Any suggestions?
fucking follow us on Facebook. We got a Facebook page now. That might be our main platform for a little bit.
Well, you're still gonna put on your Instagram, I would think.
I'll put it on mine, but it's like my Instagram's not getting as much traction as it was at the start.
I don't know. You're the social media guru in the group.
I'm not that big of a guru either.
Maybe that's
I
our
just do
problem.
I just do my shit.
Yeah, I just I didn't
Yeah, hit
I
us
didn't
up
find that
on-
we would
Follow us on Facebook.
and also we're gonna have a podcast come out pretty much right around Christmas Eve, which I think
I
will be
would
the
like
next
to
one
do
that
a-
we record. So
I
we
w-
should sort of we should do more of a festive cheer one.
I would like to do a Christmas themed, but I don't know how. Like,
We can talk about that after.
I would just like to do a Christmas podcast
Sure.
that gets released either like Christmas Day,
Yeah, sure.
and whether that means we need to. I think we would need to record it like the day prior to Christmas Eve. Sure.
Which I believe is a Wednesday, so we'll have one being released that day anyway.
And then we just
can
do
just
one
do
that
one that
one,
day.
and then because you got shit going on Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
that's when I do my shit with Audrey and her family,
Mhm.
and then I'm at my parents.
Yeah, I was thinking because we did a Halloween special. We spoke about Halloween weeks leading up to it.
Yeah,
It's now Christmas.
it's Christmas. I love Christmas.
I do too, and it's the weirdest year ever for Christmas. So I hope that
It
everyone's
really
enjoying
is.
it as much as they can. And I know it's
Hey,
for some people it's hard to get back into the spirit of things. It was a little bit weird for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like for you, but
I'm in the spirit.
I'm just gonna miss my family. That's the
yeah.
thing that
It's different for me, like in the sense like there's not this hectic shopping phase. Like, oh, I fucking gotta go get this guy a present, or gotta go get my dad something, or I forgot to go get this for my brother.
I think you still have to get your dad something, though.
No, I did.
Okay, good.
I got my dad. It came in, actually. His was one of the first ones in.
Nice. It's just a weird year.
So my mom has said this. So we usually do a big thing on Boxing Day. That's not happening this year. Is she
a big thing in the sense that you have a bunch of people over?
Yeah, a bunch of people. Like, that's our main day. Like Christmas, it's just like my mom, my dad, me and my brother. Audrey will come by if she's not working or not doing anything. But Boxing Day is our big day. And she's like, your dad and brother think we're going to have Boxing Day still. I'm like, are they fucking idiots?
I think you guys should have it.
Okay, well, when we're in lockdown, there's more than 10 people that come.
I know, but I'm full.
Also, I'm not going to fucking pay that ticket.
I'm encouraging people to break the rule.
By all means. My mom has a low immune system, so I'm like, you fucking live there. At the end of the day, it's your call.
Yep.
I'm young. I'll be fine. I'll get through it, hopefully.
You're old.
Yeah, let's be honest. But at the end of the day, it's your house. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it.
Yeah, if she's cool with it, then go
if my dad and my brother really want to have a Boxing Day, go to the fucking cottage.
How many people do you usually have over a Boxing Day?
It's like 16 plus.
Yeah, that's a fair size.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like Nick and his family 20. And
that's about the same.
His brothers and their families and
children.
Mike and whoever he's seeing at the time. Audrey comes by at some point. Steve and Monica sometimes come by. John's usually home, so he comes. Like, it's
a fair bit.
I've told you guys, if you guys aren't doing anything, come by.
We usually do shit that day, but this year is different. But so if you're having Boxing Day,
yeah, no, there's a shit ton of people that come, and she's like so worried about it. I'm like, listen, you have the weak immune system. To be honest, I don't really give a fuck. At this point, I'd rather miss one Christmas to have all the Christmases in the years to come.
I don't think we should have to miss any Christmas.
Than miss seeing family. Like, I shouldn't say family. Like, you should still be able to go to like your parents and shit. If whatever, but like
if you're listening to fucking politicians, they're saying don't even do that. Which how the fuck they can say that with a straight face? Right now, how the fuck they can say that shit with a straight face, and knowing full well that none of them will fucking follow through with it is bullshit to me. And I don't think we should be listening to these fucking quacks. Personally, I think they're all hacks and fucking idiots.
So I think we fucked up as a country big time in our lockdown. I think it should have happened a lot faster and a lot sooner. And I think we would have almost I think we would have been better off if it like locked down faster and sooner. And maybe for an extra week or two. That extra week or two maybe could have helped us a lot. Again, this is all speculation, and this is coming from a guy that knows absolutely nothing.
I think you're on the right track.
But at the same time,
load of research on this.
At the same time, you look at our neighbors; they're not fucking doing goddamn anything. And neighbors, I mean the states.
Yeah,
like they're not doing like. There's a shit ton of states that are
fully locked down. Well, where my sister
fully
lives,
locked down, but also there's a lot of states that
and the difference
you can go
in
to
cases,
the bar. Like I know Florida.
And the difference in cases is negligible. So the problem with these lockdowns is that you can actually see the differences. And the differences aren't there aren't any. In California, for example, the restaurants have never reopened since March. California's been in a severe lockdown for the last 9 months plus. They've never reopened, and their cases have never been higher. And they've been under the strictest lockdowns throughout the entire United States. And there's some of the highest cases that are out there.
Right.
So the reason, I just want to specify this before I get too fucking deep into this.
Yeah.
For some reason, everything's so fucking political. I just want to state this off the top. This is not a political thing for me. I don't have any affection towards any politicians, left or right. I think that all politicians are fucking assholes. I think the admiration of politicians to me personally is fucking creepy because they're the same people as us. They just have a better job, but for some reason I
wouldn't even say better. It's just they have
a higher standing job is what they put it on. But anyways, I don't think so. That's my beliefs. I'm not a big fucking fan of anything, but I'm not on the right or left. I just fucking coast. Yep. So I just want to get that out there away before people get too fucking upset about what I'm going to say. So just to preface all this, it's Sunday right now.
Hey, why don't you put that on the table so you can fucking look?
All right, perfect.
Fuck.
No problem.
I tried to get him on. He's literally got nowhere to put this fucking
It's right
laptop.
there. We're
Hey,
good.
why don't you just write it in your notebook?
You should have written in your fucking notebook.
I got no fucking where to write.
I up
go
CJ.
on. Sorry.
So, just for where we're at, what day is today? What date? You have your
I
phone.
wrote it down. The 13th.
So today's the 13th. At midnight, we go into
Lockdown.
we're in York region. So I was very upset when I heard that on Friday that we were going back into lockdown. And I'm not pro lockdown. And I wanted to do a bunch of research before I just said I'm pro lockdown before, so people can
before you fucking actually say something.
Before I rant about it, I did a shitload of research. I read a ton of articles. I have all the links and shit. I wrote a bunch of stuff down. I spent like a couple hours going through this because I have a personal belief that I don't think they're effective. And I wanted to find out if they weren't, or if it was just going to be me talking about it, especially if we're going to put it on the internet. I wanted to have as much information as possible.
Right.
So
100%. You did your shit.
By my estimation, I don't think the lockdowns are effective, but there is effective ways to use lockdowns, which we can maybe talk about after. So you were saying at the start,
I have my own opinion on this.
Yeah, and I have my own opinion as well.
I want to hear you.
Yeah,
I want to hear what you found in your shit.
Because you brought up at the start, we should have, like when we first locked down,
it should have been way more strict, and it should have happened way faster.
I'm almost on board with that. The biggest. So what I did is I looked at all the countries that are not locked down, and a lot of countries that have low cases and are fully reopened. And there's a bunch to name a few. I'll just pull up my notes here because I actually have notes.
Holy fuck! Chris never took notes throughout his entire life. Till
no, I got a bunch of shit here. So
I like it. He's actually doing some work for this podcast.
Fuck you.
Finally,
carrying the show. New Zealand, Japan, Taiwan, Vietnam, and there was another one I had up, but none of them, all of those countries are reopened, and Taiwan never did a lockdown. So by comparison, just so we're all on the same page here, Canada's population is 37 million. Taiwan's population is 23 million. Canada's population density is 4 people per square kilometer. Taiwan's population is 673 people per square kilometer.
Jesus Christ.
It's a tiny, dense population, and their cases as of today, which I'm using just so people know what I'm using to find these.
Yeah.
I'm using Johns Hopkins University of Medicine website. They're a reputable source.
Fuck Johnny Hopkins.
I
smoked weed with him.
They've been tracking it, the countries throughout the world the whole time. And
he was blazing that shit up every day.
Just blazing that shit all day long. So Taiwan has 724 confirmed cases and 7 deaths. And that's of today. They never did a lockdown. And they have a huge...
Never,
not once.
Okay.
And they got it right off the hop because they're right beside China.
Correct.
They have an influx of Chinese people all the time for business. China considers them a part of them, even though they're a separate country, but that's a different fucking political story.
Can I ask this, though, with regarding Taiwan? Are they actually telling us actual
Taiwan's
facts,
its own?
or are
they're not part of China.
Hiding.
They're their own country.
Yeah, but
they're not hiding anything. They're not hiding anything.
I just got to throw it out there.
Yeah,
I know China likes to hide a lot of shit,
but they're not under that.
Okay, but again, if they're on their own, they could be doing the same shit, and we just kind of
So what I'm getting to here is where these countries that I listed, name a few, why they're out of this shit. Is because, and South Korea was the other one I was thinking of too. What they did at the start, and again, I'm not pro lockdown as of now because we're doing it improperly. What we fuck up on is if you want to lock down at the start to initially contain and not overwhelm the hospitals, the only way you can come out of it effectively is if you have a very strict contact tracing program. You get your test results within 24 hours on testing. And strict 14-day isolation for any exposure at all, whether you have symptoms or not. I'm just telling you this is what these countries did, and they're out of the fucking woods.
So I have something to say about our results. I think it's absolutely absurd that it takes 3 days.
I agree 100%
to get your results.
It's fucked. Totally,
absolutely absurd. If COVID-19 is as bad as it is, your results should be back within 24 hours.
Maximum.
So that way, you're
not spreading it, whatever.
Yeah. Again, if I have to go get tested. Okay, well, even if you're in a household of people, You can go isolate by yourself, do your thing for 24 hours. And then after that point, you're negative, positive, you got STDs. I don't care.
Yeah, you got the cooties.
At least you fucking know. But it's fucked to say, and it's like, you get results back. You get your results back. You get your results back. Because I know I had to get tested.
I know people that took 9 days to get their results back.
So I had to go get tested. And both me and Audrey went. And
this was pretty early on. What was this? Like April?
I want to say no. It was in the summer.
Was that late?
Yeah, because
she got tested early on though. You had a sore
so did I. So did I though, because I was with her. So we went and got tested because I kiss her. Gross. Kissing's gross. Don't do it, kids.
Do it.
Chris, do it. I'm only joking. So we went to get tested, and what they didn't tell us was that we had to sign up online and do all this shit. They didn't give us the brochure that told us all this other stuff.
It was a shit show.
Dude, we waited 5+ days.
Yeah, it was a mess.
And then we called and we were like, yo, we haven't got anything regarding our results. Oh, you just find them online. How? Yeah. How the fuck? Nobody told us. They didn't give us a brochure. They didn't fucking say shit. They said we would have our results in 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days, that's fucking bogus. Mm-hmm. It should be, again, 24 hours. Yeah. Again, 24 hours is a reasonable time for you to go lock yourself in a room and be perfectly okay.
You can't ask adults who have jobs to stay at home for 9 days with no coverage, wondering if they're...
9 days? They're telling you to stay home for 14.
No, but that's... waiting for test results. Yeah. Waiting for test results alone.
Like, I feel like a lot of these people also don't think... There's a lot of people that don't have family or friends, for that matter, that can go to the grocery stores that when they're in their isolation period to go get them groceries.
Also, it's more expensive to have other people do that for you. A lot of people can't afford that, especially now. So it's a ridiculous thing. Jobs. So the number one factor, and you were saying we should have done our lockdown differently, and I tend to agree based on all the research I did. So the Coles Notes version of this is, if you're going to do any sort of lockdown, you can't do that and come out of it without certain parameters in place, which across the board, maximum 24-hour testing, strict isolations for 14 days for any potential exposure. And contact tracing seems to be a big thing, and you have to contact at least 80%, it seems, of anyone that may have come in contact with. And then all those things work together too, right? So you were contact traced for a potential exposure, maximum, you got to go lock down for 14 days, do your thing. And all these countries that did that in these ways, they either avoided lockdowns or they had very short lockdowns, and now they're back to totally fucking normal. Also, restriction of travel, where the UK fucked up, for example, is they allowed fucking people to go wherever the fuck they wanted to, which
I think that's where we fucked up in a little bit. I think that's why I say our lockdown didn't happen quick enough. Because again, I think as soon as this outbreak started, our borders, airlines, everything
all still open.
Yo, fucking cut that shit off at the neck.
But here's the flip side of that coin. There's no point. And again, I'm going to read you an article that I found as well.
But again, if you cut that shit off at the neck and let's say...
It's a good starting point.
Let's say our lockdown was a month. If we cut off borders, nobody's coming into our country from anywhere else. If you're not already in our country, you're not coming in for a month.
It wouldn't have made a difference based on what I found. Yeah, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Really?
Yeah, it would not have made a difference.
Wow.
The only way that you can have effective lockdowns and come out of them and make sure it's cool
is if everybody does
with the three things that I mentioned before. It's testing, tracing, and isolation.
Okay.
That's it. It's not like that's what I found. So this is from the Wall Street Journal. This is September 1st.
I guess that makes sense because you don't know what other countries are doing.
You don't know what the fuck they're up to.
Yeah.
And again, you can still have people coming in, but it's got to be the same strict sort of protocol. So our problem in this country, I'm going to use us for an example.
Well, we live here.
Yeah. Is we don't have a good contact tracing system in place. We don't have good testing in place, and we don't have good isolation enforcement in place.
Can we bring up
And I'm not pro strict government crackdowns on this shit.
And I'm agreeing with you. Can we bring it back to the incidents that happened in the summer at the strip club?
Yeah.
Where
everyone wrote down a fake name.
Everybody, literally, 1,000, probably
for people that don't know what we're talking
hundreds
about,
of people wrote down
the
fake
Brass
names.
Rail in Toronto is a strip club. And when they reopened in the summertime, I think there was a potential exposure of up to 1,000 people over one weekend.
Yeah.
And when they went to do
like
the contact tracing, everyone had wrote down a fake fucking name and it also makes
fake
sense.
Numbers,
fake name because
whatever.
Guys are not.
You to
I don't want my fucking wife to know I was at the fucking brass rail. You know what I mean? Like that shit.
Yeah, whatever.
You gotta. So that's a joke, right? They found nobody. I think 90+% were fake names.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's like.
So,
but that's just to say, like, how bad the contact tracing is.
The number one thing across the board is you have to have, if you are going to use government enforcement and programs, they have to be efficient. And if they're not going to be inefficient, basically the moral of the story is that lockdowns and preventative measures don't matter without those three things in place.
Right.
From everything that I researched, and I'm gonna get
makes
through
a lot of sense.
All of this stuff and explain to people. I'm not just talking off the top of my head because I actually did this. So Wall Street Journal, this article is from September 1st by Donald L. Luskin. And I'm just going to read it to you on what they did as their parameters. And it was basically, they were explaining why the lockdowns didn't work. And they used the United States as an example because every state did something different. So they have an analytics firm tallied the cumulative number of reported cases of COVID-19 in each state and the District of Columbia percentage of population based on data from state, local health departments aggregated by a COVID tracking project. So they used all the available public data numbers that they had access to. So what they did is they went through and started at each state's point of maximum lockdown, which the average range was from April 5th to April 18th. April 5th to April 18th. Turns out the lockdown correlated with a greater spread of the virus. States with longer, stricter lockdowns also had larger COVID outbreaks. The 5 places with the harshest lockdowns, DC, New York, Michigan, New Jersey, and Massachusetts, had the heaviest caseloads. It could be that strict lockdowns were imposed as a response to already severe outbreaks, but the surprising negative correlation, while statistically weak, persists even when excluding states with the heaviest caseloads. And it makes no difference as the analysis includes other potential explanatory factors such as population density, age, ethnicity, prevalence of nursing homes, general health, or temperature. The only factor that seems to make any demonstrable difference is the intensity of mass transit use based on that. So whether you had a strict lockdown, didn't have a lockdown, the only correlation they could find between caseloads at that point was transit use, which to me off the top of my head is fucking shocking because you got places like Florida that never locked down. And you got places like California that locked down heavy right at the start. There was no difference in their cases. And they went to such minute detail. That was the only thing they could find. Which right off the top should sort of tell you.
I have a friend that lives down in Florida. Yeah. And he was at the bar yesterday for 4 hours.
Good for him. Proud of him.
Getting fucking shit-faced.
I like that guy.
Yeah. But so.
I'm just gonna keep going and then it's not very long. I'll just keep going just so we can get through it all.
Sorry.
We ran the experiment a second time to observe the effects of caseloads on the reopening. So this is where people are like, oh, but you locked down, and then when you reopened, the cases got higher. We used the same methodology, but started from each week's peak of lockdown and extended right to July 31st, confirming the first experiment. There was a tendency, though fairly weak, for states that opened up the most to have the lightest caseloads. The states that had the big summer flare-ups in the so-called Sun Belt second wave, Arizona, California, Florida, and Texas, are by no means the most opened up, politicized headlines notwithstanding. The lesson is not the lockdowns made the spread of COVID-19 worse, although the raw evidence might suggest that, just based on how they ran the numbers. The lockdowns probably didn't help, and opening up also didn't hurt. So that is the number one thing that they got from this, is that by running the numbers based on whether you were locked down in the process of reopening across different states and different variables, it didn't make a fucking difference.
Okay.
That was sort of the shocking thing to me that I didn't realize that had been done. So I read all that, and their moral of the story was locking down or not locking down doesn't matter. And then I started looking up, okay, so what makes a lockdown effective? And it came back to the 3 things, the testing, the tracing, and the isolation periods. And that's basically it. It's not that complicated. And if
but
you're not going to,
it is.
Well, it is because it depends on every country and how their system's set up. But there's no point in doing lockdown measures without having all of your other ducks in a row first.
Correct.
Which is the reason that I'm so frustrated by us going into another lockdown, is because in addition to the fact that we're fucking destroying small businesses and all we're doing is transferring wealth from the private sector into the corporate sector. Like all small businesses are fucked. They can't have in-store things, but you can go to Walmart with 800 people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to go to Walmart. I'm saying you should also be able to go to these places too.
Yeah.
So all we're doing is we're transferring wealth from these people, destroying their entire lives, and pushing it off and
To
giving
somebody
corporations
else
a
to get,
fuckload
like,
of money.
more money than they
More
already
money,
have,
whatever. And
or
I'd
they
rather
need.
see private enterprise strive than see fucking Walmart shares go up,
Yeah.
personally.
So going off that article where they're comparing like New York to Florida, can you just pull up
Yeah.
how many people resonate in Florida and compared to New York?
Yeah. Also, the thing with New York and Florida is when the cases got really bad in New York, everyone fled to Florida. And Florida didn't have a major flare up. I do know that from earlier in the year, but I'll look up the population.
Still, because to look at numbers compared to New York to Florida, which I believe New York is going to have way more people than Florida, it's going to be, yeah, sure, even though they were put into very strict lockdowns. My next thing is, but people are still, again, there's a shit ton of people in apartments, condos, whatever, where they're in buildings going up and down floors, whether it be a staircase or
their
elevator.
Populations are basically the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Florida has
21.48 million people, and New York State has 19.45 million people. And I would say that the population density is higher in New York.
Well, yeah, because how large is New York? It's
quite small comparatively.
Compared to Florida, right? So that's another thing you got to compare. Again, if somebody wants to go, let's say they've been on lockdown for 2 weeks, or they've been in isolation for 2 weeks. They're like, you know what? I just need to go and walk around the block. Everybody lives in fucking condos or apartments. They got to take an elevator or stairs.
Yeah, but
so if that one person, but if that one person goes down all those stairs or takes that elevator, hits a couple buttons, goes out, walks around the block, somebody else gets in, hits that button, now they get it.
Maybe, but we don't really know how this thing
But
spreads.
that's what I mean. Like, it's fucked.
So what I'm arguing against is lockdowns generally.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not against lockdowns if we're doing them properly. The thing that's pissing me off is we're not doing We're not doing anything properly. We're not doing our testing properly. So, like,
sure,
we're not doing anything properly. So to do lockdowns, they're not going to be effective. And basically, we've now designed ourselves to let's wait for the vaccine situation.
Yeah.
Which I think is wrong.
One of the vaccines that are coming out, I've heard some crazy stories that like one of the vaccines that came out, if you have it, it could possibly remove all the immunity for everything else up until today that you took the vaccine, you lost.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Maybe you're immune to COVID, but now you're not immune to the common cold, and now you die from the common cold / COVID.
So the vaccine gives you AIDS, is what CJ's trying to say.
I've heard shit like that with some of the testings, and
I'm not going to comment on that stuff just because
I really shouldn't.
I spent so much time trying to get all my ducks in a row for this shit. So my main thing was the lockdowns, and that's what I researched was the lockdowns.
Yeah.
And if you go across, and every day more and more studies are coming out, the lockdowns are not effective, flat out. In our experience in North America, Canada, United States, and in UK and stuff like that, the lockdowns haven't worked, and the reason they haven't worked is because the infrastructure is not properly in place to enforce the lockdowns. And I'm not saying we should have enforced lockdowns. What I'm saying is you need to have certain things working at their maximum capability in order for the lockdowns to actually slow the spread, to actually stop the fucking hospital overwhelming. But if you don't have all those things in place, there's no point in doing it. And that's what everything I looked up had sort of backed up.
So one thing that
also the other thing is the places that have had the strictest lockdowns, not just in North America, but in Europe as well, are getting slaughtered with cases right now. Italy, and again, another one. France and Italy had the strictest lockdowns in Europe throughout the whole thing. Yesterday, Italy had fucking 20,000 deaths.
Yeah, but it's okay. Let's be honest. A lot of people that resonate in Italy, there's an older population there.
They have the oldest population in Europe.
Yeah.
Which is, that is something to be said.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely. But the point of the matter is if the lockdowns were effective, you would see it. And the thing that's very frustrating, again, that I was doing research on, is every time you turn on the news, at least I'm just going to use Canada because I don't know what it's like anywhere else.
Yeah.
At least in Ontario, when you turn on the news, it's all about the latest modeling and projections, which are deeply flawed. I read an article from 2014 on the CBC which said that the flu projections that they used every year are fucking beyond fucked. And actually, like every year we said that there's like 5,000 people die of the flu or whatever the fuck our number is in Canada. It's actually more like 300. This is from 2014.
Okay.
It was actually quite shocking to read this because it was hilarious putting it in today's context.
Yeah.
So modeling and projection numbers have been deeply flawed in the past, but now we're almost relying on them. It's like, oh, well, the doctors are saying these modeling and projections. Now we're like, well, we don't need to use those anymore because the nice thing about COVID-19 is we have real data coming in every single day. So we don't need to rely on modeling and projection numbers when we have empirical data that's there right in front of us.
Right.
But we're not using that properly. And the reason we're not using it properly is because we don't have a fucking proper system in place to deal with the actual vaccine.
Right.
Or the actual virus itself. Yeah. So my whole thing is, if we're going to lock down, no problem. Let's do it properly.
Yeah,
but doing it properly is not, let's all sit in our houses for 28 days and then come out. Because it would have shown effective elsewhere. It doesn't work without the testing, the contact tracing, and the isolation. And that's it flat across the fucking board.
Yeah. I'd like to say this about our country and a lot of the people, not only that I know, but again, a lot of the people that resonate in Canada. You get a lot of people that go, oh, I just got the sniffles. It's just a runny nose.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they go to work knowing...
Give 6 people the cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who can give it to their kids?
Flu.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. They give it to whoever they say. Yeah. It happens all the fucking time.
Teachers go to work with the flu and give it to children.
I got sick as fuck because some asshole decided he wanted to play hockey on Sunday night. Sick as a dog.
There you go.
Dude, literally the next day, fever, fucking coughing, sneezing. Dude, I was out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. You had the flu. Yeah.
And it's like, buddy, just stay the fuck home. But there are so many people that go, oh, it's just a cough. And they go to the grocery store. They go to the convenience store.
But that's a bigger...
They go see all their fucking friends.
That problem is more of a problem in the sense that the reason that we all say it's just a cold or it's just a sniffles is because we don't have, and this is a different conversation altogether, is we don't have the ability to take a day off from work and be compensated for having the cold or sniffles.
But
people don't want to burn a vacation day.
But that's part of this problem.
I'm agreeing with you.
Because again, there's a lot of people right now that go, oh, it's a runny nose or it's just a cough. And they're going to the grocery store. Sure, you're wearing a mask. I don't care. But did you actually take the hand sanitizer when you walked in? Mm-hmm. Probably not. There's a lot of people that probably pass it and just keep going.
Sure.
Go to the produce section.
But
they're
again,
not grabbing the first one they fucking touch. They're touching every fucking thing.
The nice thing about not using the modeling projections is that we know that there aren't outbreaks at grocery stores. We know there aren't outbreaks within small businesses, restaurants, and bars. Those things aren't happening here. And that's why these lockdowns for me are so frustrating, is because all you hear people say is, listen to the science and data, listen to the scientists. Okay, you want to use science and data? Let's actually use it, because they're not scientific, these lockdowns that they're using in place, because they're locking down businesses that aren't spreading the virus.
True. So my next question is, how do you know for a fact it's not getting spread from a grocery store? From our contact tracing? Because if you look at our contact tracing, again, you could have the virus and not show symptoms for 5 days.
Yeah, and I know where you're going with this.
They're 100% not looking at every fucking place, every little hole that you've been in.
When was the last time you went to the grocery store and had to write down any contract tracing?
None.
You haven't. So that's back to the point, is I'm agreeing with you, is that the system itself is fucked up and they're not using it properly.
Correct. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's...
But the thing is, though, on the flip side of that coin, is when they do, and I'm saying when the politicians and scientists want to lock things down, they like to point out certain things. Well, like, this place had 6% containment. And based on the own government's things that they put out, less than 5% are coming out of restaurants, bars, gyms, and all those things. But those are the first things that get locked down.
Yeah.
If we're using the science and trusting the data, as everyone wants us to use, by that itself is not trusting anything. Yeah. We're just closing things down for the sake of closing things down, which I'm saying is wrong. If we don't, and there's no point us doing it.
Yeah.
The only thing we're accomplishing is destroying small businesses and destroying a bunch of people's fucking lives.
Well, that's the one thing I fucking can't stand is.
And everyone wants to be compassionate, but no one.
They're shutting down all
there's
these.
So many people that have never lost a fucking single cent, and this is myself included. Yeah. I haven't lost a single penny from this whole thing down. Thankfully, I never got laid off. Our business was able.
Antonia.
Everyone else.
Yeah.
I'm extremely lucky, and most people I know never lost a single cent due to this thing.
Yeah.
Thankfully. But there's a lot of people out there that are in the exact same boat of me that are screaming for fucking things to get closed, which to me, if you want to talk about compassion, is the least compassionate thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. You're sitting at home, you never lost a nickel, your life's maybe gotten better from this, and you're gonna look people in the face and say that their job's not essential.
Yeah.
That job pays their fucking rent. It puts food on their table. And how the fuck is that not essential to them?
Yeah.
That's essential to fucking everyone.
Yeah.
The people that are the loudest about lockdowns and fucking closing measures are people that never were affected by this shit. Yeah. And that's the thing that pisses me off the most. Like,
100%.
I was fucking furious when I heard it, and it didn't affect me, the lockdowns. It didn't affect me a little bit.
If it wasn't, well, again, teaching didn't start till September because I teach at Durham College. So that didn't start till September. But between March, again, usually winter is a slow time for me. So March, it usually starts, we start booking shit. But from March till September, no work.
Yeah.
October, started getting work. Now we're back in lockdown.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Fucking teaching's over in 2 weeks. Actually, next week's my last week.
The hypocritical matter of fucking this whole thing from people that want to be compassionate and shit like that are being the least compassionate people in my estimation.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see the glee when you turn on 680 News and I turn it on at the zeros and shit to catch traffic report on my way in.
Yeah.
But it's weird when you hear the glee and fucking news announcers that a certain place is going to lockdown. Whereas that is, when you hear lockdown, that's destroying people's lives forever.
Yeah.
And the glee in some people's, oh, perfect, should have been done weeks ago. We should have done this. We shouldn't have done that. Yeah? Well, look at the fucking numbers. Lockdowns have not worked. I'm saying that right now. They haven't worked.
Sure.
Our cases have never been higher.
You did the research. I haven't.
Yeah, but also I
after reading what you said,
let me just go through
100%.
Let me go through this a bit more because I got a few more things.
Yeah, just leave it there.
So I'm just going to list all the sources I look so that people can look them up.
How's your table working out for your laptop?
It's great. It's fucking perfect. I don't know what you're even on about. So another article I read was in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that was from October 13th, and that was written by the editorial board.
Right.
Discussing many of the same things, and a lot of the shit that they looked at is that the lockdowns didn't really flatten any curves in other places. And the nice thing, again, is we can use data that's already out there right now. We can throw modeling projections out the fucking windows. Did this state lock down? No. Okay, how'd they do? The state right beside them locked down? How'd they do? Oh, they did the same. Well, what about coming out of lockdown? Oh, that was a spike. Nope. Actually, by the numbers, pretty much the exact same.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's where at least for the states, I think that's where they flaw a lot because each state pretty much can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. And this is the other thing that I realized too, because when I was researching this, and this is the thing that, and if people want to call up and dispute me, I'm sure I missed a lot of things. I'm not saying I'm absolutely right, but I try to do
we're by all means no experts.
No, but I did try to do my due diligence on this, and I read a bunch of articles that were in favor of lockdowns. Now, this was the number one glaring difference for me in articles that were not anti-lockdown, but were just using real data to look at it. Lockdown, the articles that were pro-lockdown, they didn't use any data. That's overwhelming. You can Google, just type in COVID-19 lockdowns, and you'll find 100 lockdowns from mainstream media and news sources that'll state why they're effective and why they're working. But the thing that they forget to enter into those things is actual data backing up their claims.
Right.
They're mostly opinion articles. And I try to stick to mainstream media, which is flawed across the board. 100%, I'll acknowledge that. But I was using mainstream media sources and also finding that when they were disputing something, they were actually using science and using numbers to say, hey, this is why this didn't work. Whereas the ones that were pro-lockdown were just saying this will work with no backing up of the numbers. That was what I found overwhelming. So if people want to say that I was being biased in my research, yeah, the bias that I was using personally was finding articles, whether they were pro or against lockdown, that had numbers that I could use to state, hey, like maybe I'm fucking wrong. Maybe I'm looking at this improperly. But I could not find an article that was pro-lockdown that actually used anything to do with numbers. Actual data. It was all opinion pieces stating why. And every article I found that was saying, hey, maybe we should reevaluate the lockdowns, did it not just by stating it was a personal opinion that we shouldn't lock down, but by saying, hey, here's all the fucking numbers as to why these things haven't been working. So I want to state that out there too for
I think
people are
that's
wondering where I'm coming from. But
that's one thing I've been hearing, because again, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and the people that do the podcast resonate in the United States and a lot Los Angeles.
And a lot of it's anecdotal. Like a lot of people feel like it should work, the lockdowns, and myself included at the start.
They should have.
I thought if we're going to do lockdown,
if isolation,
lock everything down for 28 days and then we're good.
Yeah,
we're good, right?
If isolation is 2 weeks, if everybody isolates for the 2 weeks because we're in lockdown,
sure, yeah,
then it should work.
Why shouldn't it work? But it hasn't been working. And the reason it hasn't been is because
a lot of
the tracing, contact, and all that shit. And that's it. And it's not, I thought it was going to be more complicated. I thought it was going to be harder than that. And everything I found, if you want to Google why Taiwan didn't do it, if you want to Google why New Zealand didn't do it, or what you will find though, is you'll find that at the very start, they did very strict lockdowns.
Right.
Which I know sounds counterintuitive to my point, but my point is not, I'm not anti-lockdown.
Yeah.
I'm anti-wrong lockdown.
Yeah.
Locking down
if you're not doing
everything properly, then what I'm saying,
why are we going?
There's no point in doing it.
Yeah.
And I think,
and I agree with that. After hearing,
I haven't even gone. I got 6 other fucking tabs up here of articles that I can go through, which more or less.
If you want to go through them, we need to pause because I had to piss. So
I got to piss too.
You want to pause?
Yeah, let's pause.
Pause. And we're back.
Okay, so we're back. So I apologize if it's getting animated or whatever, heated. I just want to throw this out because I don't want to go on too much longer about this.
I've got shit I want.
I just want to state the sources that I used and the articles I used. And again, anyone who thinks I'm a fucking idiot, you're right. But we've
said this from the get go.
the thing that I feel pretty strongly about this. And I actually did a fair bit of research in finding this stuff. And I did a whole whack of fucking research. And again, when you Google, are the lockdowns effective? You're overwhelmingly going to find articles that are in favor of lockdown. But I encourage people when they're reading them is to look for things that are actually supporting that claim.
Also, go and read the other side. Don't always read something that's, again, I don't know what side it is which, but if you read something that's, and you can tell that it's very right-sided, go read an article that's very left-sided and see where the similarities are. Yeah. And then go try to find something that's in between. Or read a couple other articles. What
I try to do myself is because I came in with a thesis that, or a hypothesis that I think the lockdowns are bad. So I could go out there and find 100 articles that back on my claim, but I also wanted to read the articles that were in favor of lockdown because maybe I'm missing something and only looking for the one thing.
Yep.
And I encourage people, and I'm going to list my sources that I use and they're all mainstream media because I didn't want to use any small independent sites where people could say, oh, well, these are biased in any fashion.
Yeah.
I'm using sites that are, you can find articles on these sites that are pro-lockdown, and you can also find that are anti-lockdown. The reason that I didn't use places like CBC, CTV, and stuff like that is because
I'm glad you didn't.
Well, but I read those articles, and the thing that was, I would have included them, honestly, if they had used data supporting lockdowns. But I just kept reading and reading and reading, and they weren't doing anything other than saying we should be in lockdown.
Yeah.
But they weren't saying why and how it would be effective. And then and all the things that I was reading that were saying the lockdowns weren't effective, they kept coming back to the same 3 things, which was the things that I've mentioned 100 fucking times. And that's the testing, and that's everything. And the one that really stood out to me was the Wall Street Journal one, which was from September 1st. It's called The Failed Experiment of COVID Lockdowns. And they hired a separate analytical firm to find out the numbers. And that was where I said where lockdown, whether you were in lockdown or not out lockdown or coming out of lockdown, basically the numbers are the exact same. So that's the first one I used. The second one I used was from The Guardian, which is a big publication in the States. Continual lockdowns are not the answer to bringing down COVID under control. And that's by Devi Sridhar. I can't pronounce that.
Sure.
And that article was really good because that went through all the countries that are out of the fucking woods and are fully open. Let's find the commonalities.
What they do.
What did they do? And no one's screaming to do things that other countries are successful for. We're just screaming for lockdowns, but we don't know why.
Yeah.
I also read a bunch of different independent papers and stuff like that from stuff. I don't have them right now though. Another one I read was Financial Express, Fighting COVID-19 Pandemic, Show Us the Evidence that the Lockdown Works. That was from October 24th. And then I use a lot of shit on John Hopkins University's website. Johnny Hopkins, smoked weed with him back in the day. And I would click on a different country and find out when their things were. So for Canada, just as an example, if you look at our record number of deaths and cases, they were all back when we were at our strictest lockdowns. That's anecdotal. That's, of course, to be taken with a grain of salt. But the vast majority of cases and deaths in places that had strict lockdowns, Canada, Italy, France, Sweden didn't have strict lockdowns, but they're going back up through the cases as well.
Wasn't Sweden one of the ones that like
they
kind
did
of
lock down?
Yeah, but they kind of managed it
fine,
pretty well. Now, I don't compared to like the size of Switzerland and the people they have, is kind of minuscule to a lot of these other places.
Yeah, so,
I could be wrong.
Well, I have Sweden's numbers. So Sweden's population is 10 million. Their population density is 5 times out of Canada's.
Okay.
So the one thing I was hearing, like just like offhand, was a lot of people were referring like, hey, we should do something like Sweden. They never did a lockdown. All they did was protect their like elderly people who were vulnerable.
Yeah.
They got hit with a lot of cases and deaths at the start, and then they were mostly out of the woods. But the one thing I heard disputing that was like, oh, it's a smaller population, it's less dense, whatever. I looked it up. Based on Canada, they're 5 times higher than us. Their population density per square kilometer is 25.4.
Okay.
And then again, population density and shit like that is a factor when you're not doing the proper things. Like here, if you look at our hotspots, large population densities, multiple family households, which means you got your grandparents, your nieces and nephews all living in one household. It's no surprise that things are spreading quickly in those communities.
Right.
And again, you can still have those things and still have effective measures without lockdowns. And that was the moral of this whole story. And anyone listening, I encourage you to go out and just look at this shit, but
go do your own research.
Yeah, do your own thing. But the one thing that I really tried to do was look at both sides of the argument. And the one thing I kept finding, and I know I'm going to sound like a fucking broken record, was when you have claims that need to be disputed, you can't just say it's wrong because I said so. You need to have evidence. Yeah. So
why is it wrong?
You also still have to have the same amount of evidence to say that something shouldn't be disputed. Lockdowns are 100% what we need. This is why. Here's the numbers. They're not there. They're not providing the answers. And to me, that's really fucking shocking. The fact that a lot of people are in favor of or not in favor of some things, but haven't done any of the research, myself included, because I had a gut feeling that these things were dumb. And I didn't think we were doing it properly because there's other places that have done things with much higher population densities, with much more people, with many more cases that are fine and have been fine for fucking months. And there's no clamor to, what did Japan do that was so effective? Why aren't we doing what they did? Yeah. None of those conversations are taking place. The only conversations you hear are lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. We need to lock down.
So my thing is, and after like listening to you give all these facts and whatnot, is so you go to a restaurant, when they take down your shit, your information, when you go in or whatever, it's all written down on a fucking piece of paper. But you can go in to their website and make a reservation online. So my thing is, why hasn't there been a system implemented by the government that whatever, if you're an operating restaurant, store, whatever, grocery store, whoever it is, if you're open right now, you need to have this operating system where that either people come in and that's the first thing they do, which is either give you their name, number, or whatever, or it's something they do before entering the store.
Check
with like a little iPad thing, you walk in, you fill it out, gone. But it's all digitally, so that way this system can be like, oh, this person has been here, 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 and here, and here.
Yeah, everywhere you go, you check in.
And now
they can see that if you tested positive on the 5th,
now
we can see where you were 6 days before.
Cambridge Analytica can run your fucking number
there you go.
And fucking figure out that.
But that is
this is who needs to be contacted for these places. We can lock it down. Okay, this place, there's been a shit ton of people that come here that get COVID.
Yeah.
All right, we need to go investigate what is happening here that isn't happening at all these other places.
And here is the other problem, and I think what you just said is a pretty good idea that I never really thought of, is you check into multiple places throughout the day. Some places like you said, I've walked in the
Some
grocery store
places-
every day
they
since
never
March. I've
ask
never
you.
written anything down.
Never been asked for any of my information
But
at a grocery store.
it just goes back to the bad system that we have in place. Is because let's say there was a bar that had an exposure, right?
Right.
Let's say fucking Jack Astor's had an exposure. 100 people got it at Jack Astor's. Where was the last place what'd you do last night? Oh, I went to I was drinking, I went to Jack Astor's, and then I went home and went to bed. You could have gotten it off the fucking button or the door that you touched 7 times in between. The last place you know that you're at was Jack Astor's.
That's
also,
what
you could have forgotten that you stopped
most.
to get a fucking hot dog off the street vendor and some cunt fucking sneezed into your fucking face by accident, but you were drunk, you forgot about that. But the last place you remember being was at Jack Astor's. And you must have gotten it at Jack Astor's.
So that my dad brought up that point. He's like, oh, but they like take your name and they do all these checks. I'm like, okay, but how good are these checks that they're doing? Because there's only certain places where you write your information down. And again, they only
most places you don't.
They only look back. Again, I haven't done any research on this. My thoughts are they only do, oh, you were here. That's the last place you fucking went to.
Yeah.
That's where you got it.
Therefore, you got it from there.
Not, I live in a condo and I have to touch 17 doors and 4 elevator buttons to get to my fucking room.
Not to say that's how you get it, but still, that could have been how you got it.
That's 100% a possibility.
For sure it is.
It does not, it maybe 90% came from the place you were.
But it doesn't exclude the other possibilities.
That other 10% is still viable and you can't write it off.
Just thinking now, if I got COVID today, right, and I went through my last 14 places, there's no contact trace. I haven't signed into anywhere of the places I've been. I go to work, I go to the grocery store, and I come home. Yeah, that's my life.
And I don't
go anything else, and I haven't been able to sign anything. So there's no way to properly Okay, so the only thing that they can do is like, did you see your parents or CJ or whoever the fuck? Who'd you see in the last 14 days? And then that's a guess. You forget about people. You don't know. Yep. And then they're making inferences. So again, I'm not anti-fucking COVID measures at all. In fact, I think what I was trying to really state properly was that if we're going to do it, let's do it properly.
Do it properly.
But
have the right...
Anything else in between is a half-ass measure that does not work. And I'm sick of hearing about lockdowns and how we should do this and how we should do that when flat out the fucking data doesn't seem to back up that without certain things being in place. And that was the more thing that I wanted to get a hold of. And that was also shit that I didn't know up until I started looking into it the other day. I kind of assumed that lockdowns were effective if you sort of lock everything down for 28 days. No one goes anywhere. No work, no nothing. We'll deliver your groceries, none of that shit. Yeah. Places did that shit.
But see, that's
governments
the thing,
delivered groceries and it didn't make a difference in those countries.
Right.
Italy, I'm using as a perfect example, and other states.
My thing is, even you still need people to work in the grocery stores. So there's still people, there's still contact. Like
it's not it won't be a perfect system.
Again, that's why
there's certainly a better way to do it, and we haven't been doing it properly. I don't think.
Contact tracing, and what were the other two that you stated?
Testing, contact tracing, and strict enforcement of 14-day after exposure.
Yeah. So again, if we implemented those three,
that's in spite of. And all those things work hand in hand with each other.
Yeah. So you can't have one and
you
not
can't
the
have
other
one without
two.
the other. So right now we've gotten our testing pretty good. I think we can get it within 24 hours. But we don't have any.
But we don't though. That's the thing.
Now we do. The guys at work that I've worked with, they all had to get they all got their test results within 12 hours. Yeah. You can go to Mount Sinai and have your test results within 12 hours.
Okay.
There is places you can go.
Okay, but I think I agree. Every place needs to have that, not just
absolutely. You
have to go here. Because what's going to happen is everybody's going to go there, and now your 12-hour test is 3 days.
Yeah, you need to have it needs to be universal across the board.
Yes,
and the contact tracing needs to be set up properly to say, okay, well, hey, hang on, you just tested. We just caught your case early. You didn't even have symptoms yet, but we know that you're COVID. So now, if there's proper contact tracing in place to begin with, then we can go boom, boom, boom. 5 people go home, stay at home for 14 days.
Yep.
All these things work together, and all those things have been proven to be effective. And anything that we've done, and I think objectively, without getting too deep into the numbers, just anecdotally, if you look at how we've behaved in this country and other countries across the board, we've had lockdowns, we've had testing, we've had all these things. And I think we can say that they haven't worked because our cases have never been higher, at least in this province.
Yep.
I haven't been paying too closely attention to other provinces, but basically I think they're in the same boat. They're getting fucked up too.
Yeah.
Our hospitalizations are out of control. And so people are going to look to, oh, well, it's because we lifted lockdown measures. And
because look how long we were okay for after the lockdown got lifted.
And also, if you look at Canada's numbers, the highest peaks of all of our deaths, things, and all this shit, like cases and stuff like that before, were right in peak lockdown.
Yeah.
So again, it should be an inverse in numbers. And again, now I'm going off the top of my head. I can go back to the shit that I looked at.
No.
I think we're beating a fucking dead horse now. But
yeah. And I think you said it really well. Again, they're just you can't just go to one extreme and not have after it come out and be like, nah, we're all good.
And that's
not how it's
up.
Yeah, because that's not how it's gonna work. And again, I never really thought of that, where it was like our testing, again,
neither had I.
24 hours.
No. Yeah.
And again, thinking about it now, that should have been a fucking
should have been
thing.
A no-brainer.
Yeah, that should have been a thing right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Not this 3-day bullshit.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
And then again, how is there not, if you're going to be a storefront, restaurant, grocery store, technology store, whatever you are, a storefront, if people come into your fucking little office, there should be something. Even your employees should have to sign in digitally every day.
Yeah, and people are gonna hear that and go, well, they might be screaming and saying, "Oh, we'll download the Canada COVID app." Well, the COVID app doesn't do those things.
No, it needs
all
to
it
be
sees
in a
is
store.
that you were in this location and someone near you got COVID. But that doesn't mean that you
you could have been in your car,
in your house the entire time. Whatever,
or just
the fuck.
in your car, just
exactly.
driving around.
Yeah.
I gotta take the car out.
I think what you're saying,
sitting in the driveway for 17 days.
I think what you're saying is right, and it pains me to say this because personally, I hate the idea of any sort of heavy-handed government intervention at all those lines.
Right.
And people are going to hear that and go, "You're dumb. This isn't heavy-handed. This is necessary." Yeah. Sure, we can have that conversation, but also we can have the conversation about governments never give back control of things once it's already set a precedent. So that's a different conversation altogether.
Yeah.
But I do agree, as much as I don't want to, that anywhere you go, there should be some sort of digital login. Like, remember on Facebook, you'd be like, so-and-so checked in at fucking Jack Astor's.
Yep.
Checked in at Jack Astor's. This is where I'm at right now.
Again, it could be a phone where you scan your the QR code.
Whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
Before you enter, there should be, what the fuck do they call them? People at a restaurant? At the front? Hostess.
Yeah.
They cannot leave that booth unless somebody else is there. As soon as somebody walks in the door,
sir, just scan your QR code.
Please scan the QR code, switch to your camera. It'll pop it up right away. Automatically,
and all you have to do is click accept.
Name,
hey,
number,
did you actually sign
email
this in?
address is
all
being
right
sent into the database.
Yeah.
Again, it's already in the fucking database, so shut the fuck up if you think they're fucking spying on you, because they already are.
This is my predicament, though.
But
I think that those things are outrageous, but I think if you're going to do lockdown measures and you have to have some sort of system like that, it has to be done. Or you don't do it.
Or, again, I think having like an iPad where you have to rate your shit, you got to touch the iPad, so does everybody else. So the QR code makes sense.
I think it's a pretty good idea now that you say it.
Yeah, and that just fucking came. That just came to me. Yo, hire me.
Yeah. But it still goes back to the same thing.
Man.
It's all what we're talking about. Our system isn't working properly, and I'm just sick of hearing people giddy with fucking glee at the sight of lockdowns.
That we're going back into a lockdown.
And again, for me, the thing that really made me really frustrated by the lockdowns was listening to other people that weren't affected. And I wasn't affected, so I should be fucking going, yeah, lock it down. I don't give a fuck. Doesn't hurt me at all.
Yeah.
That really pissed me off, seeing the vast majority of numbers. I think one of the polls I heard was like 75+% of people were in favor of stricter measures and lockdowns. This is about a month and a half ago.
Right.
I heard this on 680 News. And if you look at the people that haven't been affected by COVID-19, it's like 75%. So it was almost a mirror image of like
those 75%,
because people are sitting at home, they don't have to go to the office saying, yeah, sure, lock it down, doesn't matter. I'm good.
Lock it
but
down.
They're not
I'll
thinking,
still get paid.
They're not thinking about the further ramifications, and they're not thinking about the real deeper impacts of this thing. Also, here's the other fucking thing is when the hospitals are overwhelmed, other shit can't get done, like cancer screenings and all that stuff, which is all going by the wayside. preventable cancer screenings happen yearly for people for things that they can catch that day, but a lot of people haven't been able to get those things. So that's shit that's not going to get logged into COVID deaths and numbers.
It's
just really, the whole thing it just seems so hypocritical for me to see people say, hey, wear your mask. It's compassionate. Think about other people. It's not protecting you. You're protecting others for getting sick. Sure, you want to wear your mask? Go for it. I wear my mask everywhere I go, just to specify.
Yeah.
Just so that people don't think I'm going on a different diatribe here, because you have to be careful, right?
We're getting canceled.
I wear my mask everywhere I go. I adhere to the fucking things.
I think
but
wearing
those
the mask,
same people that bitch at you about it's about compassion are the same ones that are advocating for fucking lockdowns,
and they're not doing anything.
And they're not being compassionate. They're not and they're also not using fucking data and numbers. And they're the same ones that are screaming to use data and numbers. And I'm saying you and we generally, not talking about anything in specific, but you know what I'm talking about. You hear it all the fucking time. You hear it in the media. You hear it from other people. And I was at the start. I was like, I'm sure I'm being hypocritical in some fashion or another, but at least I'm willing to admit that. Like, at the start, I thought if we locked down for 28 days,
I was the same. Until
here we go. We're good. Yeah.
30 minutes ago,
I was the same of that until fucking 2 days ago when I actually started looking into it.
I always thought that our lockdown wasn't strict enough, didn't last long enough, and then they opened up too quickly.
Yeah.
But again,
that's the number one common thing.
I never did my research. I never looked into it. Again,
and neither had I.
For me, it was the way of the world. It is what it is. There's me as a single person. I can't do anything to reopen up anything or start getting more work until people are willing to come to me for work in the sense.
Yeah, you're directly affected by this, and you were pro lockdown.
Which
at least you're being honest by that.
My thoughts were, if we locked down, I would have. Again, if lockdowns actually worked, if we locked down for 3 months, and that meant we were out of it for the long run,
everyone would have signed on the dotted line saying, "Sign me up for that." Short-term pain for long-term gain. But now we're into month 7.
I think there would have been at the start a lot of people that would have said, "Fuck that." I think there would have been more than you expected. If we went on lockdown
you're probably right.
for 3 months.
Hindsight is also 2020. So now, knowing what we know now, I think a lot of people might have decided on the dotted line.
Yeah.
But again,
prior,
it wouldn't have made a fucking difference.
Even when we went into lockdown the first hand, again, we're a first world country. Sure. I think it's taken for granted what we have. And
we're doing great. Freedom. Earlier on this podcast, you were bitching about getting the wrong fucking blizzard delivered to your house. Like, here's the other thing, guys.
And then ending up with 7 extra items.
Like we understand how good we have it, and that's my thing, is that we have it so fucking good.
I think a lot of people take that for granted, and that's what I mean. Like, when we first went into lockdown, I think there was a lot of people that still went out and did a bunch of shit that they shouldn't have done. I know people that went to the grocery stores more than they should have.
Yeah.
Like, way more. And people that I had to tell, like, yo,
you don't need to go this often.
But you've been coughing all week. You're going to go see so-and-so because you have to go get groceries with them? No, there's other people that aren't sick that can go get groceries. You can literally order groceries to be dropped off at their door. And this was probably
before mask mandates, too.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And it's like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that is masks and stuff like that. The masks worked in countries that had a mask culture and stuff like that. All of those things work. And they work, again, hand in hand with other things. But you can have mask mandates and say that, it's helping to stop the spread. It's not.
Well,
it's only not in the sense of what I was talking about earlier.
100%. In the long scheme of things, and wearing a mask is low on the totem pole.
It's low on the totem pole if you don't have other things that are apparently, which I didn't understand up until recently, are actually much more effective than, say, putting on a mask and stuff like that. But these are hot button issues that you can push and be like, these are simple fixes. Weird. So not everything is a simple fix. Who knew? Shocking to hear.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm sure people are beating their fucking head against a wall listening to me talk about it, but
I am.
Me too, frankly.
I got shit I want to talk about.
We can talk about things, but let me just say this last part.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, I'm sorry if I annoyed the fuck out of you. And again, I encourage you to
do your research.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to be proved wrong on this because I'm not attached to this that much. Yeah. I had this gut feeling that And my gut feeling was based on what I was observing objectively and anecdotally.
Yep.
Our cases never been higher. Our fucking things are going through the roof. We've had restrictions in place for fucking 8 months, and nothing seemed to change, whether we were in lockdown or out of lockdown.
Yep.
And so the frustrating thing for me was, why are we going back in if it doesn't seem to be making a difference?
Yeah.
And then I just looked it up, and it turned out that it doesn't make a difference.
If you're going to do your research and send it to us for Chris to look at, please don't just read one article and send it. Actually do some research.
No, do whatever you want. I don't care.
See, this is my problem with it though, because you, again, like what you said, if you read one article, it could be so right-sided. And okay, fine, they made some good points, but there's no data to back it up.
And that's
don't fucking send that shit. Again, do your research. Look at multiple articles. Do your fucking research. Have some actual data to back up what you're reading, and then send it. Don't just.
I barely touched any of the points I had.
And
down.
I don't.
I was just going through we've been on this long enough.
Yeah.
And I was doing Coles Notes versions.
But it was good fucking points.
I hope it sounded okay, and and I apologize to people that if it sounded
convoluted.
It
opened my eyes up to a lot of shit.
It opened my eyes on Friday just researching it, and here's the weird thing about the articles that I read. The headlines are grabby, like why lockdowns don't work. But when you
clickbait
for sure. But when you read the article, most of the people, no, I'm not saying most, all of the articles that I read that were anti-lockdown, I'm using that in quotations.
Yeah.
All of them to a T had stated that lockdowns are effective in combination with certain parameters. And that was it. They weren't advocating against lockdowns. They were just advocating against lockdowns that won't work. And that's what I'm advocating against.
Yeah.
And based on our system that's in place right now, I don't think these lockdowns are going to work. I don't think they're going to be proved effective. And if you look at Toronto and Peel, who have been in lockdown for an extra 2 weeks ahead of us, their cases are still going through the fucking roof, and people are going to go through, oh, what about the 2 week? Listen, all of those things are covered by doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Does not matter without the three main components, just tracing, isolation, and testing. And if we don't get any of that shit in order, we're not going to get ahead of this thing at all. And I think that sitting around waiting for a fucking vaccine to go into your arm is a bad strategy because it destroys our country, and it destroys also
that vaccine could take another year before we actually get
Well, they're saying next September the whole country could be immunized. It's fucking December. That's 10 months from now.
Exactly. And again, it could be another year before we actually get something that's
and we're approaching Christmas where
or just to have the amount of vaccines to vaccinate everybody. But then you have anti-vaccinators.
Yeah, but I don't even want to talk about that because I don't think that's rooted in anything.
Still, but it's
that's fine. I mean, no problem.
I don't want to get into it, but
no problem. And
there's just so much.
Yeah,
there's so many variables.
There's a lot of variables, but there's also not at the same time.
But just waiting for the vaccine
is not an answer. It's not an answer.
It's not.
And that's what it felt like for me the last 3 months coming up to this.
We talked about it. We're like, nothing's going to change till there's a vaccine.
Yeah, but I actually think if you look at, and I listed 5 countries, there's way more than that that are open. Like Vietnam is fucking open fully. And here's a fucking shocker to the world. Vietnam's a great country, but they're not a fully developed country. Their sanitation is not the same. Their hospitalizations aren't the same. None of that shit. And they've been fully open.
Yeah.
For months. And what did they do? They did the 3 things that I listed. And that's what I'm finding. And again, the articles that I was reading they weren't without their fucking criticisms for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I don't know.
Okay, let's change topics. You ready?
I'm good.
Are you ready though? I don't know if you're ready.
Go for it.
Okay.
Sorry to everyone, by the way.
Yeah, it's fine. It needed to be talked about. Like again, we just got fucking put on.
Yeah, like these are things that actually bug me and I want to talk about. Yeah. And I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to go.
It's what everybody's fucking talking about.
I know it is, but I didn't want to rant and rave about it without at least looking.
At least knowing your shit. Yeah. No. And I'm glad you did it.
There we go.
Again, you brought up shit that I never thought about. So okay, Logan Paul.
Oh fuck.
Versus Floyd Mayweather.
Another contentious topic.
February 20th, 2021. Not sure where it's being held, but you can pre-order the fight now and get a discount.
It's being held in an area that's called Who Cares?
Okay, listen to this though. So you can pre-order the fight. I don't know when the cutoff is or if it's already happened, but they were selling the fight for like $24.99. Then they're doing another one for $39.99, then $49.99, and then for the full thing. There's 4 different segments that they're doing. And from what I've read and heard, it's actually very smart because, again, you got people that are big Logan Paul fans that don't give a fuck about boxing. That'll be like, for $30, I'll watch Logan Paul try to beat the shit out of Floyd Mayweather. But you also have diehard boxing fans that are like, what the fuck is Floyd doing?
I don't care. Yeah.
Fine, I'll pay $26 to watch Floyd knock the fuck out of
I'm
Logan
not
Paul.
paying a cent for this fight. You and I could not.
Hey.
We agree on most things.
Hey.
Which is cool.
On February 20th, I will be watching the fight.
I'll come over and watch it with you.
If you want to come over.
I'm not paying a cent for this fucking fight.
Again, even if you wanted to watch it here, I will pay for the fight.
Okay. I think what we can all agree on at this point is that it's gotten so dumb.
100%.
How the fuck a YouTuber has convinced the best boxer of all time.
But here's the funny thing.
To fight him is beyond me. But the fact that we're even talking about it is dumb.
Okay, but to say a YouTuber convinced the boxer to fight him, that's not how it happened.
I know it's not how it happened, but that's how I just said it.
Yeah.
For the sake of speaking.
So Logan Paul was presented the contract 5 months ago by his manager. Said, hey, would you fight Floyd Mayweather?
So
and he's like, go fuck yourself. Like, yeah, but like, go fuck yourself because
never gonna happen.
Go fucking do something useful. I think a couple months after that comes to him, he goes, if you sign on this dotted line, you'll be fighting Floyd Mayweather. And they went back and forth for dates like crazy, but signed on the dotted line. He's fighting Floyd Mayweather. Like, sure, it was talked about. Like, Logan Paul brought it up months ago, like a year ago or whatever. Sure. It's also absurd that this man has been boxing for 3 years and is now fighting somebody that's 50-0 and arguably the best boxer of all time.
I think we're just going to call him the greatest boxer of all time. I don't even think it's... Yeah, like, for sure there's an argument. Pound for pound, whatever. For the sake of it, he's the best boxer of all time.
And I know you like to say there's no way and chance this kid is going to fucking beat Floyd.
I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
Sure. And I will bet you on this fight 100%.
I think what the problem is, here's the problem.
Hang on, no.
All right, yeah.
Let me just tell you some facts. So one, there's a chance that Floyd is looking at this fight. One, it's an exhibition fight, so this has no effect on Floyd's record. So he could be looking at this fight like, oh, this is going to be a fucking breeze, whatever.
As he should be.
And sure, but Logan's looking at this fight like he has everything to fucking gain. Whether he wins by
no matter
decision or he knocks him out.
Or loses. It
wins. Doesn't matter.
It was the same thing with McGregor fighting Mayweather.
Yeah. McGregor had nothing to lose.
All the pressure is on Mayweather.
Yeah.
McGregor has nothing to lose. If he lost, he should have lost. If he won, wow, he shouldn't have won. What the fuck, Mayweather?
Yeah.
It's the exact same situation.
Yeah. So there's
It's way dumber though.
But because Logan is training his fucking ass off and has been. The contract has been signed for the past 5 months. And Logan hasn't stopped training since he started training for boxing 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was. He's been training the entire time. In the last 5 months, he's been training nonstop because the contract's been signed. But a point got brought up, again, is Floyd actually going to train like he was training previously?
Yeah, he will.
You think?
For sure.
I think there's going to be... I think there's...
But the difference is...
I'm not saying he's not.
Yeah, Logan has to train every day since the day that he started boxing because he doesn't have... He didn't start boxing at 8 years old like Floyd Mayweather did.
True.
He hasn't had the experience that Floyd Mayweather has.
Oh, 100%.
So all Mayweather has to do is do a training camp for 6 weeks out from the event, and he will be Floyd Mayweather that fought Canelo, that fought all those people in the past. There's no question in that.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay. And I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I agree he doesn't need to do the training camp that Logan is doing. Logan needs the training camp.
Yeah, he needs every minute of time.
Apparently, both Paul brothers, so Jake and Logan, have been training Golden Glove fucking boxers, like winners.
They can afford to have the best training in the world.
Yeah, so it's not like they don't have...
No, they're doing it properly.
Experience. Like they're training top line boxers. They're not getting fucking scrubs off the corner of the street.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's 3 years compared to 48 years.
Lifetime.
Exactly.
His uncle was a professional fighter. His dad was a professional
Yeah.
fighter. Like these are things he grew up throwing punches.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't have to think about throwing a punch. They have to think about technique throwing a punch.
So my next thing is Logan's sitting at like 215, 220. Like
there's no way Floyd's coming up.
That's his walking weight.
There's no way he's coming up.
Floyd fights at 155.
Yeah. And he'll probably have, I would guess, because I haven't looked into this, because I think this is the dumbest thing ever. Personally.
I cannot see Logan losing 40 pounds.
I don't think
40. That's not even getting down to 155.
I don't think they're fighting without. Listen,
I don't think they're. I think the weight class is going to be very.
Floyd made fucking Pacquiao cut a bunch of weight to fight at a certain thing. Floyd made a lot of Canelo cut a bunch of weight to fight it. He's not going to fight him at 215.
100%. He's going to have to cut weight. But I don't see him cutting like 40 pounds.
He could easily. There's a lot of people that do it. There's a lot.
I don't see it happening.
There's a lot of shit. I
don't see it happening.
Sure, okay, that's fine.
I'm just saying.
Have they announced what weight they're going to fight at?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They've just announced the fight.
But it would have been agreed upon for sure. Because they're not going to bicker. They're not going to announce the fight without that being established.
That's a lot of weight to fucking lose.
I completely agree.
And like going into the ring.
Look at McGregor when he fought Mayweather. He lost a shitload of weight. And he already fights at lightweight.
When you lose that much weight, you get very nostalgic. What's that fucking...
Nostalgic's like looking fondly upon the past. I don't think that's the word you were looking for.
No, definitely not. Fucking like you just have no energy.
Lethargic.
Lethargic. That's what it is.
Lethargic.
That's what I was looking for. Like again, like I just don't see him cutting that much weight. Like sure, Mayweather is definitely, if he wants to fight at 155, I think that's on him. He'll be light as a feather. He can fucking move. But the thing that Logan Paul has going for him is his weight and the power behind his punches.
No.
Okay.
I disagree.
Again.
I don't think there's I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Okay. Again, I think you're...
Can I just explain my little reasoning for why I think this is a non-issue at this point?
Again, I'm not trying to disagree with you. I'm just trying to...
We do disagree, but that's fine.
Open up...
Different avenues.
Yeah, the light on the other side here.
So the light on the other side of the tunnel is that there's great boxing all the time. We don't have to pay attention to the dumb super fights. Like, here's the reason that McGregor and Mayweather was a super fight and was actually worth paying money for.
They're both in mixed martial.
McGregor knows how to fight.
Yeah.
He's a real fighter.
Yeah.
Now, whether he's a professional boxer, obviously he's not.
No.
And if there was a real UFC fight, obviously Mayweather wouldn't stand a chance. The same amount of chance that McGregor probably stood having a boxing match with him.
Before you move on with this.
Hang on a second.
Before you continue, though, because you're talking about Mayweather and...
I'm just using that as an example to preface the rest of my arguments.
But I just want to state this for reference. So when McGregor is fighting, he's trying to pay attention to literally everything. Mm-hmm. Takedowns, kicks, not just fucking hands being thrown.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a completely different playing field. And again,
but he put all that out the window when he signed on to do a boxing match.
When that fight happened, it was so absurd. I couldn't believe that was happening.
But it wasn't as absurd as this. This is not even in the same fucking universe, CJ.
Yeah, but you also got to look at Mayweather, because it's not like Mayweather has been it's not like he's been in a boxing contract and has to take this fight.
No, he doesn't. But his nickname is Money. And that's what he likes.
Exactly.
His nickname is Money, and I'm not faulting either of them for signing this deal or doing it. Yeah. My problem is if we're going to talk about stupid fights, let's talk about real stupid fights that actually were... You could make an argument why you should tune in and watch this fight.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a compelling argument to tune in and watch this fight other than, hey, come watch a YouTuber get beat up by Floyd Mayweather, which I think it will be easily.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that want to watch Logan get knocked the fuck out.
Sure, whatever. But even if there's not, with McGregor, you could have made the case, and a lot of people were new at the start, both of us included.
Yeah.
McGregor didn't stand a fucking chance in hell.
No.
He landed one uppercut in 10 rounds. He got TKO'd, as he should have. He was fucking gassed. And it turned out exactly how we thought. But at least when you're talking about the build-up to that fight, listen, McGregor's he knocks people out with his fists. He does all these things. He's a real fighter. We're talking about a YouTuber now. And again, I'll give him credit. He trains. He does all these things.
Yeah.
he's not even Logan Paul's not even the same fucking universe as Conor McGregor is.
No.
Like they're not even on the same fucking galaxy, solar system, whatever the fuck planetary system they're on. Yeah. And McGregor had no chance against Mayweather. Now put Logan Paul, who's not even near McGregor, into the same fight. Like, to me, there's no argument. Right?
And again, I don't disagree with you.
I know. I'm just trying to get my points out here.
But I like that 5% chance.
You think it's that high?
Yeah, I do.
That's crazy.
And that's from listening to a lot of other people, whether they have been in the fighting industry, whether it be MMA or UFC or the boxing realm. There is that chance, again, with Logan being a lot bigger, not just physically, but for like muscle mass wise. Like he's
a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
Longer reach, taller.
Sure.
And heavier.
So was McGregor. McGregor was bigger than him.
Yeah.
McGregor walks around 190 and he cuts down to 155.
Yeah. And again,
and he's a real fighter.
I don't think the cut is going to be that extravagant. I don't even know if there is a cut.
I'm certain.
It's an exhibition fight.
It is an exhibition fight.
So I don't know what the
parameters are.
Yeah. They could be very lenient. And again, I'm not saying like Mayweather has a lot of pride to lose within the boxing community. Also, you got to look at boxing in general. Like boxing is dying. This is the only thing keeping boxing alive.
Well, I disagree with that because this was the other point I was going to make. Yesterday, I watched Anthony Joshua.
You did, and I had no idea they were fighting. No idea.
All right, yeah, fair enough. That's fine. I didn't really. I have DAZN, which is what they're on. So DAZN signed Joshua. They signed Tyson Fury, I believe. They signed Canelo and Triple G, where they're two big guys. So we're talking about arguably the top 3 or 4 biggest boxers on the planet.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mayweather stands alone because he has a separate draw.
But Mayweather's retired.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right? If we're talking about draw, he'll do his pay-per-views, whatever. Yeah. They signed huge deals with DAZN. So in this week, yesterday was Saturday. I watched Anthony Joshua fight, and there was 5 fights leading up to his fight, all professional boxing, all great boxing. The thing that we can agree on about last week or whatever the fuck we watched the Mike Tyson thing is watching Jake Paul fight Nate Robinson. It was bad boxing to watch.
It was.
It was not nice to watch. And if you enjoy boxing, you like to watch good boxing. Yeah. So although these things are entertaining on a spectacle level, my argument is that if you're going to watch boxing, there's good boxing to watch.
Can I say something about that fight?
Well, hang on. I just want to get through this. So yesterday I watched Anthony Joshua. 5 lead-up fights, all professional boxers. Good boxing across the board.
Fun to watch.
Next Friday is Triple G fighting. Probably to be the same thing with a good card.
Do you know who he's fighting?
They said it, but it's another good guy.
Sure.
And then on Saturday, Canelo's fighting.
It's not like if you said a name, I would know.
Exactly.
I don't know why I asked.
But Canelo's fighting Smith, who is a champion in his weight division, and they're combining weight.
Okay.
This is a super fight.
Yeah.
But with real professional boxers. So
I love Canelo.
If you want to watch good boxing, it is out there. You have to look a little bit to find it. Yeah. Admittedly, I'm also a hypocrite because if I wasn't subscribed to these things, I might not know about them. Yeah. But either way, more to my point is that you don't need to watch fucking YouTubers fight YouTubers to see boxing because if from watching fucking YouTubers fight to watching anybody fight before them and after them, it's not good to watch. Like as a fan of boxing, which I am, it's not good to watch.
No.
It's entertaining in the fact that, Nate Robinson got flatlined for 2 minutes.
You can't look at that fight.
It's not good to watch.
You can't look at that fight. And the reason I'm saying you cannot look at that fight to be like, you can't watch YouTubers fight. Nate Robinson didn't even spar in his training camp. Not once did he spar.
It's really dumb.
So to say that fight was terrible to watch, yes, it was. Because Nate Robinson, dude, he could have sat on a couch and fought just as good as he did.
Yeah, probably. Day. Yeah, I'll give you that. But being unprepared is being unprepared. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, again, you can be an athlete. Like, there's Evander Kane,
hockey player.
Yeah, called out Jake prior to going into that fight
because Evander Kane wants to make some fucking money. That's why.
Yeah, but dude, he'd get his ass whooped. Never boxed anywhere, whatever. Sure, your trainer puts on some mitts and you hit the gloves.
Sure, yeah.
That ain't fucking boxing.
All right.
Jake has been doing it for the past 3 years. He's had 2 fights, 3 fights.
I think you've been brainwashed by the Jake Brothers cult.
No.
Would you let them 3-way you?
No. They're all ugly motherfuckers, and I can't.
If they were prettier, would you let them?
I can't stand Jake. I cannot stand Jake.
You're in the cult.
Logan, I'm coming around to just because of his podcast and listening to the shit they talk about. But Jake, I cannot fucking stand. But at the same time, if somebody's been boxing with an actual boxing coach and training and actually sparred, had fights, and somebody, again, Evander Kane can't take the time off playing hockey to train for 6 months for a boxing fight. He can't. He can't put in the time to play professional hockey and a step in the ring.
You're probably right, yeah.
Like, if he wanted to step in the ring against Nate Robinson, fine. Well, by all means.
What he would do, though, I'm just thinking of this now. What he would do is, in his spare time, he would have a proper boxing trainer. And then they would also work out the date where, let's say, he's doing training camp by September 1st. His season ends no matter whether the Stanley Cup ends June 30th.
Yeah.
He will set aside, this is my training camp. We're going to fight on this date. I know for sure I've got 2 months to fight. And any second that he has in between, he'll be with a boxer and a trainer.
Okay.
So he could make it work. He could.
But
he could.
Again, so let's say, okay.
Also,
so again, September to June, July, whatever.
I think all these things are getting absurd. I think this
Jake
whole thing
is also
absurd.
Training that entire fucking time.
I agree with you. Yeah, like
it's not even like, again, he'd get his fucking ass knocked out unless he's got a solid fucking chin.
See, you talk about it as if it's like Jake Paul is a professional boxer fighting Evander Kane, who's not. I think they're in the same class, really. I think.
I'm not saying they're not.
I don't think you can arguably say that it wouldn't be a close fight if Evander Kane fought fucking Jake Paul, because I think they're both fucking amateurs who have never boxed in their entire lives.
100%, but
I put them in the same category, and their category is so far below a real professional boxer.
I'm not denying that. But
I know you're not. I'm just explaining my points of it.
But at the same time, like, somebody that's been boxing and has boxed professionally twice, whatever it is. He boxed in a ring,
whatever, it doesn't matter,
against an opponent, and then there is a record.
Yeah.
There's something to say about that, rather than somebody being like, I'm a fucking hockey player, I'll beat your ass.
Yeah, on skates, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Definitely on skates. But you step in the ring, probably not.
The thing that frustrates me about this whole thing, I don't even think it's worth a conversation. I think the whole thing's dumb.
I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, and again, if you want to pay for it, I'll happily come and sit on your couch and drink beer.
Yeah, 100%.
But
you bring the bottle of whiskey.
No problem. I'll need it to get through it.
Okay.
It's just I don't think that there's a compelling argument to say that you should watch this fight, where there was one in other previous super fights or people crossing over or whatever the fuck they were.
I totally agree with you.
I think these things have just gotten so silly and
Logan's
absurd.
even said it's how the fuck he lost his last fight. How the fuck he's 0-1-1. He's lost one and had a draw against another YouTuber.
Another non-professional fighter.
Yeah. And now he's fighting the best boxer in the world.
I will give full credit to him. The fact that he's managed to squeak out. He'll probably get paid.
I don't know how
he's probably going to get like $50 million to fight a guy who is the best boxer. I bet you it's 50. Because McGregor got minimum guaranteed 80, and I think with all the bonuses and pay-per-views and cuts of the gate, I think it escalated up to 100 million. So McGregor, who's a real fighter, not a boxer, but a real fighter, was able to parlay himself $100 million.
Yeah.
I don't think a YouTuber gets anywhere near that. I think he'll probably manage to get himself 50 million. That's probably high. But either way, he's talking tens of millions of dollars. Good for him. It's absurd. I don't like it.
So what do you think Mayweather would have requested?
Mayweather's minimum is probably 150.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
Okay.
Based on Mayweather and his fights in the past.
Yeah. I have no idea.
I would think he's 150. The problem with this fight is they're gonna be relying heavily on pay-per-views, whereas in the past they also get cuts to the gate, right? So that's why there's escalation bonuses. So
the one thing about Floyd fighting Jake the press or Logan is the press that's coming out of because of the following Logan has. Like there's more press. Even if Floyd were to step out of retirement and fight an actual boxer, which I highly doubt he would ever do again.
No. Yeah.
I think he's done.
He's doing these $100 million
45 or something like that.
Yeah, he's
almost 50. He's doing it for the money. I've heard stories that this man spends more money than
absurd
anybody knows, would know what to do with.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. But the press, just because he's fighting Logan, is absurd.
Okay, so conversely though, because this is the weird thing about press now, because everything's so hyper targeted. I have not heard, other than you texting me an article about him fighting Mayweather,
Yeah.
and another friend of ours texted me an article about Mayweather. I've not heard anything about it.
Really? Eh?
Yeah, so like these things are within their little echo chambers, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the McGregor versus Mayweather was a huge deal because that McGregor, whether you like him or hate him, he transcends MMA, right? Like he's like Tiger Woods. He's such a big personality and such a big sports figure.
Yeah.
He steps out of whatever the fuck he does, people talk about, and you hear it out there in the mainstream. And I don't follow the mainstream.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
I've heard about it through people. So
you heard it before I did, because I sent you the picture and you're like,
because our buddy texted us. Our friend texted us the fucking thing. And he's like, this is getting silly. I'm like, this is, I had no idea. 100%. I thought it was fake.
100%.
Yeah.
Logan also said, I was watching him on
but he's also relying heavily on his audience to buy.
I don't think so. I think what Logan's getting paid before pay-per-view and
it's already established.
I think any of that is absurd. And Logan's actually, from what I've seen, being pretty humble about the whole thing. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing here and how I got here.
Yeah, because
again, he lost his last
he's doing it
fight.
properly. Listen, he has nothing to win. He has nothing to lose and nothing to gain. Well, actually, he has everything to gain.
Everything to gain, but nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. I'm going to watch it. I want to see what happens. And again, there's probably going to be some good fights leading up to it. Just like the last one, there were some good actual amateur boxers coming up. There were some good fights.
Now, they also...
As long as they don't do stupid fucking Wiz Khalifa and whoever...
How dare you?
Dog shit performances. Like, get Snoop on there and just leave Snoop to perform the entire night.
Don't even hire a commentary team. Just let fucking Snoop
I think Snoop's already in the conversation for if he's
Snoop
going
Dogg
to commentate.
do like Planet Earth commentary?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's so good.
Dude,
so
Snoop
they'll put like a Planet Earth clip.
Yeah.
And they're just like, Snoop, commentate on this. And it's better than you think. Like, it's
Really?
way better. Like there's like otters that like square up with like a fucking alligator, like a Nile crocodile.
Fuck.
And he's like, what are those, mongooses? Oh, they're going head up with them.
Mongoose.
And then like they like back the alligator up. They're like, yeah, we them boys. Snoop is undefeated. He has a show with Martha Stewart. I love anything that guy does. That's what
I love Snoop.
Yeah, he's a great
Except
guy.
when he tried to be Snoop Lion. That was the one thing I didn't like. He put out a documentary about it.
Did you watch it?
I did. It was dog shit.
But
I didn't like it.
I found in that documentary that he wasn't like trying to be Snoop Lion. I think he was just exploring a different avenue of Snoop
he was too high for anybody's good during that entire documentary.
He was in Jamaica the entire time.
Like, no. Like, if you go back and actually watch him, he is too stoned.
He's cooked.
Like the entire time. And hey, good for you. Like,
speaking of too
that is fucking Snoop.
Maybe we should have known this. The best line I ever heard in my fucking life was, I worked with this guy who's a huge stoner.
Yeah.
One of the best guys I ever met in my life. And I was talking about this another guy I was working with was talking about this time. We were talking about like how you get like too stoned or whatever. Like, you know that time where like you smoke a bit too much, you get too stoned? And he's looking at us and he gives us like the most confused look. And this is genuine. He's a 100% real fucking genuine person. He looks at us like we're actual
aliens.
Idiots. Like, what the fuck? He's like,
too stoned.
He just interrupts and goes, too stoned. It's like, too stoned? I don't even know what that fucking means. I've been so stoned. Never too stoned.
That is true, though. That is true, though. You've been so stoned.
Never too stoned.
Never too stoned.
I've been too stoned for sure. I've never been. I've also been
so stoned.
No, but there's been times where I've been too high. You can get too high for sure on anything. You get too high. You get too drunk. You can get. I mean, you can get too everything. But yeah,
if you're a true fucking stoner, it's never too stoned.
No, so stoned. Classic motherfucker.
On that note, we're out.
Get in touch with us. mail.2seasonapod@gmail.
Facebook, 2seasonapod.
CJ's Instagram @it's CJ Shade. SCHADE. And again,
hey, let us know your favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah, let's keep talking about Christmas as we go forward. Yeah. This one got hijinks because it was just like,
oh fuck,
whatever.
So much shit going on right now.
Yeah, I just need to talk about it a little.
Fucking super fight happening between Logan Paul.
Super fight. Yeah.
Chris can't wait to watch it.
I've never been. Honestly, this is real thing though.
No, I know you told me you have never been
less interested.
Yeah, I do want to watch that Ryan Garcia fight with you.
That's a real fight.
So you tell me the dates for that, and then
also next Friday and Saturday, if you want to watch 2 real good fights in box cards, come over.
Canelo's Saturday
and Triple G's Friday. Yeah,
might hit you up for the Saturday.
No problem. We'll
do a podcast that.
Sure.
Get it over.
Yeah. Anyway, as always, anyone who listens and continues to listen, thank you.
Yeah, we love you.
Yeah, can't thank you enough. So that's it.
We're out.
Love you.
Deuces.